Chapter 176. There was no loud gongs and drums, and no blasts of firecrackers. But when warming up for the new event, the students of Ravenclaw Academy helped Remy prepare several songs that would make people's blood boil at the first hearing, and they were symphonies. Although there were no firecrackers, there were plenty of fireworks. Someone even customized fireworks that looked like various guns, which were continuously set off in the square outside the castle. Registration for the event is in full swing, and this time everyone is still welcome to participate. Remy moved the portal and placed it in an empty room, free for all students to use. At the same time, Remy changed the layout of the underground world, fully opening up the rooms used for team competitions, so that Hogwarts students can invite 3 or 5 friends to play there at any time. The most important island room was isolated by Remy and a separate portal was set up for it. According to the plan, it would only be open for 2 days on weekends every week, and only when there were 100 people could a game be started. It is very difficult and slow to explore the game by yourself, so Remy has not opened the solo and duo modes at this stage, only the 5-row mode. With 5 players per team, 20 teams can form the necessary number of players to start a game. On the first weekend after the event opened for registration, Remy selected 20 teams including his own and led everyone through the portal to the game venue. This game was not a competition but an ordinary game. Remy planned to hold the real competition at the end of the semester, but now is the time for them to get familiar with the rules of the game first. After passing through the portal, 100 people came to a huge platform together. In the middle of the platform there was something similar to a vending machine, and in the distance there was a huge airplane. As everyone arrived, a prompt sounded on the platform, and it was Professor McGonagall's voice, which made the curious and chattering little wizards quiet down and follow the voice prompts to line up at the vending machine in the middle of the platform to receive game equipment. A tablet, a pair of glasses, a headset, a camouflage uniform and a pair of combat boots. The tablet can be used to view maps or to check game help. The glasses can check their own status in real time. The headset can communicate with teammates remotely. Camouflage uniforms and military boots are the most important. They are magic props that can increase the player's physical strength and speed after wearing them. The island is too big. Without their help, most players would probably die in the black tide. At the same time, this set of clothing can also bring the player's physical fitness to almost the same level, making the game as fair as possible. Well, it's just the best we can do. After all, things like myopia, height, weight, and so on cannot be modified for now, and absolute fairness is impossible. According to the voice prompts, everyone first put the clothes on their bodies to complete the disguise. Then, under the voice prompts, they put the tablet into the tactical pocket on their chest and put on the headset. After all the outfits were changed, almost everyone was excitedly trying out the headsets and their new enhanced bodies, jumping and dancing. It was very lively. How cool! I feel like I can run a marathon now. Harry said excitedly. Don't worry, you will have a chance. Remy said meaningfully. The flight path of the plane has been determined. Where should we jump? Remy. Hermione asked. It's all right. I can dance anywhere. I'm just here to join in the fun. Remy said. He came just to play with Luna. There were only 2 of them, and there were exactly 3 people on Harry's side, so the 2 sides formed a team. At first, when Harry suggested forming a team, Remy was reluctant because Hermione was in the team and he was worried about the awkwardness when they met. But then he thought that avoiding it was not a good idea, some things still had to be faced head-on, so Remy agreed to Harry's proposal to form a team. I think we should start from the very edge. Now no one knows how to play except Remy. If people play randomly, I think even Remy may capsize. Ronald said. I'm more worried that we'll get beaten up. Harry said with a wry smile. Don't worry. The map is huge, said Remy. Harry was comforted by the fact that the reminder also reminded them that it was time to board the plane. This platform is actually floating above the sea outside the island. As the game starts, the platform moves the player and the plane along the outermost stone wall to the designated takeoff position. After all players have boarded the plane and are seated, the plane officially takes off and starts its journey across the island along the predetermined route. Through the window, players can clearly see the sea outside and the islands in the distance, and can also use a tablet to view a more specific location. Almost every team of players was discussing the landing location, but some people were using team voice, and I tuned to the wrong channel and turned on the full voice. When the plane was about to fly to the takeoff and landing point, Professor McGonagall's voice sounded again, reminding everyone to get ready and also reminding them to check their headsets to see if they were using team voice. But after the prompt sounded, there were still quite a few people using the group voice, making a lot of noise. I didn't know whether they were deliberately making trouble or just didn't react. I marked a location as prompted. Can you see it? Can you jump there? Harry said. Remy took out his tablet and took a look, and found that Harry had marked the city Z in the upper left corner of the map, which was also the place closest to the jump point. The flight route of this flight is from City Z in the upper left corner to Port N in the lower right corner. Look at how impatient the people around you are. If we jump now, there will probably be a lot of people around us, said Remy. Well, forget it. How about jumping to the nuclear power plant on the far right? Scanning from right to left will help me get familiar with the terrain. Ronald said. Okay, start from the periphery and familiarize yourself with the terrain, Harry said. Remy had no objection to this, and Luna didn't raise any objections either, and everyone agreed to go to the nuclear power plant. As the plane arrived at the takeoff point, a large group of people disappeared in an instant. Each of them fell out of the cabin through a hole that suddenly appeared under the seat, holding a flying broom. From a distance, they looked like missiles dropped by a bomber. Because the landing point had been determined, Remy and his companions were not in a hurry. Instead, they waited and observed the remaining people in the cabin. Others were watching them as well, especially Remy. These guys look like they want to snipe me. Smiling slightly, Remy pushed up his glasses and took hold of the broom next to his seat. Remy's move immediately motivated a group of people to move, and almost all the remaining people were ready to go. Seeing that the map showed that they were only 1,500 meters away from the nuclear power plant, Remy nodded to Luna and then turned on the microphone. You can jump now. Target, nuclear power plant. Chapter 177. Ding! As the button on the seat was pressed, a bomb well suddenly appeared under Remy's feet, and at the same time the seat disappeared, ensuring that Remy could fall without obstacles. After riding the flying broom in the air, Remy stopped for a moment and waited for Luna and the others to get out of the plane. However, there were more than just 4 of them coming out, at least 4 teams. MMP, there are so many people. I guess I'll have to add a privacy function so that players can't see each other. Remy said. What now? Do we still go to the nuclear power plant? Harry asked. Of course. Follow me closely, let's go down first, get the guns, and then shoot them directly. As he spoke, Remy lowered his broom and rushed towards the ground. The speed of the broomsticks provided in the plane has a uniform upper limit, and the fastest is just that fast, so Remy and his friends were unable to shake off the followers behind them. It doesn't matter if you can't get rid of them, as long as you land before them and get the gun first. Guns and bullets are the most important. When you go down, find the gun first, and then look for protective gear and other things. Remy said. It's not a gun, it's a purifier. Ronald reminded. Whatever, it's just a name. While chatting and controlling the flying brooms, a large group of people flew towards the nuclear power plant. After arriving at the nuclear power plant, Remy noticed that some people moved away a little, as if they were preparing to go to other houses in the area. Hey guys, I thought you guys were here to learn how to play games from me, but it turns out you're here to snipe me. Pursing his lips speechlessly, Remy controlled the flying broom and rushed into the building and flew directly above a gun. Remy braked suddenly to stop the broom, jumped off the broom, and rolled to release the force while grabbing the AK-47 on the ground with one hand and picking up the bullet box next to it with the other hand. When the bullet box is touched to the magazine position of AK-47, the bullet box disappears instantly. At the same time, a rotating circle appears on the magazine with the words "Reloading" written on it. 2 seconds later, the bullets were loaded and Harry landed just in time, while the others were still in the air rushing over. There's a price to pay for being a follower. With a sneer, Remy raised his gun, aimed at the people in the air and started shooting. In just a moment, 3 people were seriously injured. I'm so angry. Run. Go somewhere else. This guy is too insidious. Remy. If you have the guts, wait until we go down to fight. That's right, don't launch a sneak attack. You have no moral principles. Amid their shouting and screaming, Remy fired 30 bullets in one breath, causing them to run around in all directions in the air. One team was even wiped out by Remy. Just as Remy was about to go find the next bullet, a small hand holding a box of bullets reached out to Remy. Here you go, rifle bullets, Luna said. Okay, you go inside and collect supplies first, and leave this to me. Remy said. Good. Remy took the bullet and pressed the button on the magazine again. Just as he was about to continue shooting, a burst of gunfire suddenly rang out not far away. At the same time, several green dots appeared on the wall next to him. No, idiot. Although Remy was mocking arrogantly, his body was very honest and hid in the house. Remy is now in the big house in the middle of the nuclear power plant, which can also be said to be a warehouse. The supplies here are quite good. It was a pity that Remy didn't pick up anything because Harry and the other three had already walked in first. You four really leave no grass growing wherever you go. How can you not leave even a single hair for me? Remy complained through voice. Ah. Sorry. How are you doing over there? Do you need our help? Harry asked. Not for now. I'm planning on ambushing someone. Luna, bring me some rifle bullets. Remy said. In order to make it easier for the young wizards in the magic world to understand, Remy did not classify bullet types according to caliber, but classified bullet types according to the type of firearms. All rifles use the same cartridge, the rifle cartridge. Got it. Please keep an eye out for the submachine gun bullets for me. What I picked up now is a submachine gun. Luna said. I have some submachine gun bullets here, said Harry. Just as Remy was listening to them discussing the situation of supplies, the next moment, something suddenly occurred to him. He heard footsteps, right next to him, probably just separated by a wall. Here? Judging from the sound, there should be only one person. Perfect. Holding his breath, Remy pointed the gun at the door, ready to shoot at any time. 2 seconds later, a man walked in with an M4 in his hand. Remy pulled the trigger without any hesitation. Da-da-da-da-da. All 5 bullets hit the target, killing instantly. Remy grinned as he looked at the classmate who had fallen to the ground in such a daze that he even forgot to run away. You're brave, young man, to come after me without even a bulletproof vest. After saying that, Remy raised his hand and fired 3 more shots, killing him instantly. No, it's to help him completely purify the demon eggs in his body and save him. Eliminating one person instantly, Remy walked over, opened the box on the ground and searched everything inside. Secondary backpack, on your back. M4, on the back. 60 rounds of ammunition. Keep them. A grenade. Click. Remy pulled the ring and threw the grenade directly out. With a bang, a team wipe notice popped up in Remy's eyes, and I don't know which unlucky guy was killed in the explosion. Search faster, that's enough. We have to retreat quickly, otherwise they'll drive away with the car and we'll be finished. Remy said after taking a look at the map. They were very unlucky. The first safe zone refreshed a little to the left in this round, and they had to run a long distance to enter the safe zone. If they can't find a car, it will be difficult for them to enter the safe zone within the specified time. I'm almost there. I have a level 2 helmet, level 2 armor, a submachine gun and a shotgun, the same configuration as recommended on the tablet. Ronald said. I'm almost there. I was going to follow the C-set configuration recommended on the tablet, a rifle and a sniper rifle, but I didn't find a sniper rifle, so I have 2 rifles at the moment. Harry said. I have a sniper rifle, but I don't have a scope, Hermione said. I have a quadruple scope, Luna said. Okay, Luna, come here, we'll go get 2 cars together. The 3 of you go to the upper right corner of the nuclear power plant area and wait for us, and be careful. Remy said. After receiving the reply from his teammates, Remy thought about it again and again but still did not put on the green level 1 helmet in his hand. This is not a virtual game. Remy doesn't think that a group of young wizards who have just come into contact with guns can hit the target with every shot. After throwing down the green helmet and waiting for a while, when Luna came over, Remy was surprised to find that Luna not only brought him bullets, but also a complete set of level 2 protective gear. The protective gear cannot be put into the backpack, and you can only wear 1 set, but Luna found a bug and she got it with her hands. Chapter 178. There are many more ways to cheat in real life than in games, especially in the magical world. Holding it by hand, it can only be considered a very small bug. This bug is so small that Remy is too lazy to fix it and just regards it as a hidden setting. After changing into the equipment Luna gave him, Remy looked at the gun Luna was carrying. A Thompson submachine gun and an M24 sniper rifle, and the sniper rifle even has a 4-fold scope. Your equipment has already graduated. Just now you said you wanted to give Harry a quadruple scope. Is that too much? Remy asked. Well, I have two, Luna said. I understand. Give it to him later. Let's go find a car first. Remy said. There are many shelters in the nuclear power plant area, and now there is a large group of people here. The top priority is to break out of the encirclement first, rather than wasting time here with those people who don't know how to play. The less skilled a person is at playing, the more he dares to waste time with others at times like this. He or she won't even pay attention to the shrinking time of the poison circle, the black tide circle. Be careful, follow me about 3 meters behind, not too close or too far. Remy said. Okay, okay. Luna nodded and picked up the Thompson, ready for battle. After looking outside and making sure that there was no one there, Remy waved to Luna and rushed out of the house first. He did not run along the obstacles, but instead ran in an open area to prevent Lao Lu from hiding behind a cover and launching a sneak attack. Remy was not afraid of others shooting him with guns, because Remy was very confident in their shooting skills. But Remy is still very afraid of sneak attacks, especially close-range sneak attacks with a shotgun. It was not known whether the remaining people were frightened by Remy's killing spree or were too obsessed with collecting supplies, but Remy and Luna actually ran all the way out of the nuclear power plant through the open area very smoothly, and no one shot at them. What made Remy even happier was that there was a jeep parked on the road next to the nuclear power plant. In the game, the jeep can seat 4 people, but this is reality, and as long as there is room, you can seat as many people as you want. Remy ran to the jeep, swung the gun behind his back, then opened the door and entered the cab. Luna, get in the car, this one is enough. Remy said as he opened the passenger door. Okay. La Luna got into the car and told Luna how to close the door. With a bang, the door was closed. Remy started the jeep, did a drift, turned around, and drove towards the north of the nuclear power plant. Remy's route forward is not straight, but curved, almost circular. After taking a short detour, they arrived at the previously agreed location. As soon as Remy came out from behind the slope, he saw 3 furtive figures squatting together. Drops da-da-da-da-da. I'm Chow. Don't shoot. It's me. Remy, I'm here to pick you up. Remy, who was startled by the gunshot, hurriedly explained, and at the same time had a new understanding of Ronald's shooting skills. I was scared to death. Why didn't you tell me in the team voice chat in advance? Ronald complained while changing bullets. Just now, he fired a whole magazine of bullets in one breath, hitting, well, no more than 3 bullets, and the durability of the jeep was hardly reduced. True master of tracing. Stop complaining and get in the car. I'll take you somewhere else, said Remy. Just as he finished speaking, there were sudden and continuous gunshots in the distance, and at the same time, green dots appeared from time to time on the mound next to the car. But there was nothing abnormal on the car body. It is obvious that the unknown gunman in the distance is not better at shooting than Ronald, and he is also a master of outlining. Although the gunshot missed the car, the sound still startled Harry and the other 2, and they hurriedly got into the car. In other words, all 3 of them have had contact with cars. If they had not had contact with cars before, there would definitely be trouble in an emergency like this. Maybe it was because they saw Harry and the others getting into the car, the gunshots in the distance suddenly became more frequent, and for a moment he was actually hit by 2 bullets. Not daring to stay any longer, Remy stepped on the accelerator and drove to the left without waiting for the car door to be closed. After making a small half-circle, he successfully ran behind the dirt slope. The gunfire stopped and Harry breathed a sigh of relief. It's so exciting. This activity is so fun. Where are we going next? Harry asked. Go around to the front of the nuclear power plant area near the safe zone, and we will snipe them there. Remy said, today, except for a few of us, no one will be able to leave the nuclear power plant alive. Sniper? Great. Watch me kill them one by one. Ronald said excitedly. Remy. With the marksmanship you just demonstrated, it would only take a burst of luck to kill a person with 100 shots. They drove all the way to the west side of the nuclear power plant, where there happened to be a few houses that could be used as shelters. Remy was very cunning and drove the car behind the houses, so that even if the other party wanted to destroy their car, they couldn't. Leaving a way out, he let the 4 of them exchange supplies with each other first, while Remy went into the room alone to search. As soon as Remy entered the door, he saw a VSS sniper rifle lying on the ground. Beautiful. Weapons graduate instantly. He quickly picked up the VSS sniper rifle and replaced the AK-47 behind him. Remy now has a VSS sniper rifle and an M4A1 rifle. He no longer needs to collect weapons deliberately. The VSS sniper rifle is a rapid-fire sniper rifle that can fire continuously. It also comes with a 4-fold scope and a silencer, and has very little recoil. Such a buggy firearm naturally has many disadvantages. Its biggest disadvantage is that the bullet firing rate is relatively slow and the bullet drop is obvious. But these advantages and disadvantages are all from the previous game. In this event, it is the most powerful sniper rifle that can be picked up, no doubt about it. Because it is the most suitable weapon to attack the Dark Lord. I'm safe this time, but I don't have enough bullets. I'll ask Luna for some later. She's playing with M24, and 30 rounds of bullets are enough for her to play with for half a day. Remy muttered to himself as he continued to search, and he found 2 bottles of suppressant drinks, energy drinks, and a box of suppressant ointment, bandage. After putting these emergency supplies into his backpack, Remy climbed through the window and ran to another wooden house, where he found a barrel of oil and 2 extended magazines, one for a rifle and one for a sniper rifle. Remy slapped the extended magazine onto the gun to complete the enhancement, and took some oil with him in case of emergency, then returned to the loot-sharing meeting site. Originally he wanted some bullets, but when Remy came back he was speechless by the pile of accessories scattered on the ground. These people are really good at pretending. You only need 1 set of these accessories. Picking up more will only waste space in your backpack. Remy said, then raised his hand and pointed in the direction of the nuclear power plant. Now it's time to snipe others. Oh, and there are cars. You can try sniping car tires first, just as a way to practice your shooting skills. Sniper car tires? Practicing shooting skills? Harry and his companions' eyes lit up, and they quickly looked for vehicles with their sniper rifles, or even submachine guns. Chapter 179. There are 2 advantages to using cars as targets. One is that it can improve your marksmanship, and the other is that it can prevent the enemy from escaping by destroying the car. The only problem is that the gunshot will attract other people's attention. But it didn't matter. The others had noticed them when they were on the plane, so it didn't matter whether they shot or not. The feud between them was like water and fire, and there was no room for easing. Who said this is a knockout match? The winner gets everything, the loser gets nothing. The most important thing when using a sniper rifle is accuracy. Don't think about firing a second shot. Just assume you only have 1 bullet left and only 1 chance to fire. While explaining, Remy lay on the ground and used the VSS's built-in scope to aim at the tire of a 3-wheeled vehicle in the distance. After holding his breath for 2 seconds, Remy fired 3 shots in a row. It was not completely contrary to what he had just taught, but it was completely unrelated. But Remy also had his reasons. He was using a sniper rifle, so wouldn't it be a waste of resources if he didn't shoot continuously? Through the scope, Remy saw that he hit the target with 2 of the 3 bullets he fired, which was a pretty good result. The scope turned and Remy looked at the minivan that Harry was aiming at. He was still aiming and was not in a hurry to shoot. The camera turns again, and Remy looks at the motorcycle that Luna is aiming at. Just as Remy turned his eyes away, a gunshot rang out, and Remy witnessed with his own eyes the stone next to the motorcycle tire being stained. Luna missed, but she was close. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time. After comforting Luna, Remy turned his gun around and continued to destroy the 3-wheeled motorcycle he was aiming at. After using more than 10 bullets to blow up all the tires of the 3-wheeled vehicle, Remy turned the gun around and shot at other cars. One after another, soon all the cars that could be found were hit by Remy. At least 1 tire of each car was damaged, and some 4-wheeled cars even had 2 tires damaged by Remy. Not long after the first phase of the mission was completed, Hermione, who was on guard, suddenly spoke up to remind them that someone had come out of the nuclear power plant, and even marked a point with a tablet. The marks on the tablet can be directly displayed on the goggles. Noticing the marks on the goggles, 3 people including Remy turned their heads to look at the marked points, and all 3 sniper rifles were set up. Harry, Luna, have you seen him? Remy asked. Harry, yeah, I see. Luna, I see. You shoot first and I'll cover you. Ronald, Hermione, you can try too, but don't waste too many bullets, no more than 30 rounds, said Remy. Okay, no problem. Okay. As soon as the deployment was completed, Ronald raised his gun and fired 3 shots through the holographic sight. His action immediately aroused Harry's dissatisfaction. Don't be so anxious. How can I shoot if you shoot like this? My gun can't fire continuously, said Harry. Sorry, I was too excited, hurry up and hit him, don't let him get away. Bang. Da-da-da. Suddenly there was a burst of gunfire, and the targets of the attack were so frightened that they quickly ran back, passing through the thicket of gunfire without being hit by a single bullet. Not a single shot hit him. There was no way around it. Moving targets were hard to hit, not to mention they were at least 200 meters apart. Not to mention Harry and the others, even Remy himself wasn't sure. It seems like I'll have to upgrade my guns and add an assisted aiming function. Otherwise, the 2 teams may fight until they run out of ammunition and food and still no one can tell who's the winner. Remy complained. I think it's better to get rid of the recoil. I aimed very accurately just now, but as soon as I fired, the muzzle rose up uncontrollably. Hermione said. It's impossible to remove the recoil. It's no fun to play with a gun without recoil. Remy shook his head and said, stay alert. Next time someone comes out, don't rush to shoot them. Wait until they get closer. Everyone responded, and some nervously or expectantly poked their heads out of the windows and corners of the room to carefully observe the enemy's movements. After a while, 2 more people peeked out from behind a wall. The team voice chat was suddenly in chaos, and everyone was reminding others not to shoot and let them get closer. This time Remy did not give any orders. He remained silent until Harry, who could no longer control himself, fired the first shot. Remy followed closely with 3 consecutive bullets, knocking down the man in front. The guy behind the other team had no friendship at all. He turned around and ran as soon as he heard the gunshot, completely ignoring his teammate who had already fallen to the ground. A good teammate who sells well. Unfortunately, he didn't get to run far before he was shot down by Ronald, most likely he was just a lucky escapee. There were only 2 of them in their team. When he fell, he and his teammates both turned into boxes and left the island hand in hand. If you are short of bullets, go and search the boxes they left behind. If you are not short of bullets, it is best not to run around. Remy said. Then I'll go search for some bullets. I use them up too quickly, Ronald said. Well, be careful, we'll watch it for you. Remy said. After watching Ronald run towards the box, the others stayed where they were, holding their guns to provide cover, ready to support Ronald at any time. Hey! Guess what I found? An 8-fold scope. And there are 2 of them. Ronald said excitedly in the team voice. Oh my god, is this true? I'll be there right away. Harry said excitedly. No, I'll just get it for you. Wait for me to throw away some useless things. Ronald said, by the way, Remy, your sniper rifle can fire continuously, right? Do you want me to get you some sniper bullets? If your backpack can hold it, take it. If it can't, don't use it, said Remy. It can hold a lot of things. This guy even has a level 3 backpack. He is so rich. Ronald said. While muttering about the things in the box, Ronald kept putting things into the level 3 backpack he had just put on, until... Bang bang bang! Ronald was startled by 3 consecutive gunshots. Oh no! Someone's coming! Ronald shouted, save me! Got it! You run back first and I'll look for him. I found him and I'll mark the spot now. Remy said. After taking out a tablet and marking a general direction, Remy put the tablet away and quickly set up his gun to suppress the enemy with firepower. But Remy soon found that his idea was unnecessary. Ronald was seen running away with his head in his hands, screaming, but no bullet hit him at all. Not to mention hitting him, there were only a few bullets that even hit the area around him, and 90% of them went astray and no one knew where they went. Ronald, stop shouting, it's too loud. Don't you see that you were shot? Remy said. Ah? I think I really didn't hit any target. Ha 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 ha, that guy's shooting skill is worse than mine. Ronald laughed wildly. What's even more outrageous is that he was originally running fast, but suddenly stopped and started walking slowly, and even walked backwards. Chapter 180. If you walk by the river often, you will get your feet wet. The extremely rampant Ronald was soon hit by a bullet and his face was covered with green light. He was so scared that he quickly turned around and continued to flee. I hate green. I really don't understand why you designed the bullets green. Can't you change the color? Ronald complained while running. You don't like green? It's no use liking it. Headmaster Dumbledore asked me to remove the bloody and violent elements in the game, saying that he wanted positive energy, so I have to use green. Remy said. I don't believe you. I remember you used green bullets in the previous gunfight. I think you like green. Ronald said. No, I don't like green, I just like to paint other people green. While chatting, Remy held the VSS and shot at the enemy. Adhering to the view that if accuracy is not enough, it can be made up for in quantity, and following the principle of participation, Remy didn't even aim and just unleashed a fierce attack on the enemy, making the opponent dare not even show his head. In other words, it missed. Remy, I find that your shooting skills don't seem to be much better than ours. Harry said. It's just a leisure game, is it necessary to be so serious? Having fun is the most important thing. Remy said nonchalantly, my happiness now is not to defeat him, but to chase him from a distance of thousands of miles. What a bad taste. Hermione complained. You don't understand. When your gaming level improves, you will understand the joy of controlling the score. Remy said with a smile, I just miss the shot on purpose, so that he thinks I am his opponent at the same level. Only in this way will he keep playing with me. Harry. I feel like you're targeting a few of us, but I have no evidence. After firing a few more shots randomly, the other party seemed to have discovered that Remy's people were terrible at shooting. He didn't even dare to show his head, but he poked his head out and stretched out his gun and fired blindly. It's all crooked to the sky. Alas, these guys still need training. We've opened the training ground for them to practice shooting, so why are their shooting skills still so outrageous? Remy curled his lips speechlessly and suddenly saw another person when he glanced. Just as Remy was about to alert Harry and the others, Remy suddenly found that he pointed the gun at the man before and pulled the trigger. Following a burst of intensive gunfire, the number of survivors displayed in the upper right corner of the glasses decreased by 1. So you're not on the same team. Tisk, LYB, I'll eliminate you soon. The reckless man is not scary, but this kind of LYB is scary. If this person were allowed to enter the finals, he might really be killed by him. This child must not be allowed to stay. After waiting for a while, until the opponent could no longer resist the urge to loot the loot and ran out from behind the cover, Remy acted decisively and fired several shots, knocking him down in an instant. After the knockdown, Remy didn't leave him any chances, and after taking a breath, he re-aimed and eliminated him directly. This scene immediately frightened Harry and the others, and then they became excited. That's amazing. Well done. Too strong. Remy, share the secret. Yes, yes, yes. Are there any techniques for shooting? Nothing special, just practice makes perfect. Shaking his hair and looking nonchalant, Remy asked them to keep an eye on the nuclear power plant. After waiting for a while and making sure they were all watching carefully, Remy gently patted Luna's shoulder and signaled to her. Luna was a little confused, but didn't ask. She just followed Remy out of the room silently. Reaching out and pressing a button on Luna's headset to turn off the team voice chat, Remy pointed at the car and smiled. I'll take you for a ride, do you want to go? Remy asked. Luna was stunned at first, then subconsciously looked back at the room, then the three of them. Of course not taking them, Remy said. This isn't too good, is it? Luna asked softly. What's wrong with that? If they want to practice shooting, let them practice shooting here. Let's go chase the airdrop. Remy said. But what if the black tide comes? We have destroyed all the cars nearby, and they have no cars to use. Luna said. Just run. The first time the circle shrinks, it's very slow. Remy said, let's go, get in the car. Remy took Luna's hand and pulled her into the car. He returned to the driving seat, started the car, stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, and the car whooshed out. The sudden roar of a car startled the three people in the room, and Harry rushed out of the room. Although he reacted quickly, it was still too late when he got out. He only saw the exhaust gas from the car dissipating behind a small dirt slope. Be careful, I don't know who drove the car away. Harry said. Are you sure you don't know who it is? Hermione asked. I'm sure. Harry nodded vigorously. I didn't see anyone, I just saw a car driving in that direction. Where's Remy? And Luna? If I'm not mistaken, they should be in the car that you didn't see and someone drove away, said Hermione. Harry. What does Remy mean? Does he abandon us because he thinks we are a burden? Ronald asked. You think too much. I bet Remy left either to be alone with Luna or to play a prank on us. Harry said in a muffled voice, looking a little depressed. At this moment he remembered the question he asked Remy before boarding the plane, and the answer Remy gave. He had reason to believe that Remy was deliberately making fun of them. Okay, he can do it. So what should we do now? Should we continue to stay in place and fight, or should we go to the safe zone now? Ronald tapped his helmet and asked, without a car, we will be in trouble when the black tide comes. The strategy on the tablet says that the black tide's advance speed during the first shrinking circle is slower than our full speed running. Don't forget, our bodies have been strengthened. Hermione said. That's not the case. Given Remy's personality, it's not impossible that he would deliberately write some wrong information in the guide. I suggest we retreat now. What about you? Ronald said. Okay, I agree. Hermione thought for a moment and shrugged. They both looked at Harry, who hadn't expressed his opinion yet. Harry frowned and thought for a while, looking in the direction of the nuclear power plant and then in the direction of the safe zone. After thinking it over and over again, he nodded. Let's retreat. We'll still be hiding in the safe zone, Harry said. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you hide. Ronald said. Having reached a consensus, the three retreated immediately without wasting any more time. The three of them left, but because they left so secretly and silently, the remaining people in the nuclear power plant thought they had not left yet, and none of them dared to show their heads. Until the black tide came, some people chose to resist, some chose to charge, and some with more flexible minds chose to take a detour to a safe area. The black tide, which was originally set up to gather people, instead dispersed the crowd here. Chapter 181. After a slam start, the car ran for about 5 kilometers. After going over a small hill, Remy stopped the car and let Luna drive. This place is very familiar to Remy, but to Luna, everything here is new and worth experiencing. Where are we going? Luna asked. You can go wherever you want, Remy said. Then should we go after the airdrop you mentioned? Luna asked. Okay, then let's go to the safe zone first. Airdrops will only be delivered within the safe zone. Remy said. Luna nodded, and started the car a little clumsily after Remy gave her the directions. The cars here all have simplified operating systems by Remy. The only operating features are the acceleration and deceleration pedals, the handbrake, the steering wheel, and a reverse button. Oh yes, there are also car windows, but the buttons for raising and lowering the windows are on each door and are not integrated into the driver's seat. With the window lowered, Remy watched Luna drive while enjoying the cool breeze. She drove like many novice drivers, sometimes fast and sometimes slow, and her unsteady grip on the steering wheel caused the car to sway from side to side, even though the road they were driving on was a large open space with no obstacles. Just like many driving schools in the past, they developed a set of examination formulas in order to allow students to pass the driver's license test as quickly as possible so as to free up space and time to recruit new students and make money. These formulas are very useful during the test, but after leaving the examination room, these formulas are not only useless, but will affect those students who have obtained a driver's license to officially go on the road. Because before the test they developed the habit of relying on some fixed reference systems when driving, but the real road conditions are not only much more complicated than the test, but also lack those fixed reference systems. When students are actually on the road, they often panic because they can't find a reference point. Once they panic, they are easily confused and accidents may occur. In order to make money, they turned the driving license test into a roadkiller license test. Remy let Luna drive freely, and only gave her a few brief reminders on some obvious mistakes, such as not moving the steering wheel back and forth when driving in a straight line. Although the terrain here is flat, the road is not smooth. Turn the steering wheel slightly to the left and there is a road on the right. We will follow the road. Remy said. Luna hummed a little nervously, then gripped the steering wheel tightly with both hands and turned slightly to the left, but as soon as she turned, she corrected it back a little, then turned left again, and repeated this cycle over and over again. The car body was shaking back and forth, the ground was not very flat, with some ups and downs, and the speed was fluctuating. Remy was also looking at the tablet to pay attention to the direction of travel, and soon Remy felt motion sickness. This forced Remy to put down the tablet. Luna, who was in the driving seat, did not suffer from motion sickness, perhaps because she was concentrating all her attention on driving, but her face did not look very good either. Her little face was tense, her complexion turned red and white, a thin layer of sweat appeared on her forehead, and the hair on her temples had already been wet with sweat and stuck to her skin. On weekdays, Luna seems like a banished immortal who is free from the troubles of this world. Although she is charming, people dare not get too close to her. But now, she has become more down-to-earth and seems more real. Remy was so engrossed in watching the scene when suddenly a loud bang and a strong push on his back brought him back to reality. Looking up at the billboard that remained motionless after being hit, and then at Luna who was instantly panicked, Remy smiled and reached out to pat her on the back. "It's okay. We are all wearing protective gear and helmets, so it's okay if we get hit," Remy said. "What's more, the protective suits we put on before boarding the plane have automatic protection functions. If there is any danger, it will transfer us away directly." Luna breathed a sigh of relief. "Well, try again." "Well, first change the gear to reverse, then." Under Remy's command, Luna completed the reverse drive, and after restoring the forward gear, Luna drove the car onto the road and continued forward. The road conditions after entering the highway were much better than before, and Luna drove more and more steadily, even speeding up silently without Remy's request. It was okay at the beginning. Although the road was not a straight line, it could be roughly regarded as a straight line. But when the road entered an urban area, at a bend, Luna lost control of the direction again, and not only did she slam the steering wheel, but Remy also heard a roar from the engine. At this critical moment, Remy's pupils suddenly shrank and he quickly reached out to grab Luna's hand that was reaching for the handbrake. "Don't pull." Buzz. Remy, who was a step slow to react, watched Luna pull up the handbrake. The car body suddenly shook violently, drifted sideways with a squeak, and spun wildly. Just like being in a washing machine, Remy was dizzy from being spun around, and before he could get used to the rotation, he felt an extremely terrifying push on his back. Snap! Bang! What the hell? Remy struggled to get up from the ground and was speechless when he saw the scene in front of him. At this moment he was in a house with broken glass all over the floor. In front of him, a car was stuck firmly on the window, with a big hole in the windshield at the passenger seat, and Luna, who was sitting in the driver's seat, was anxiously unbuckling her seat belt. But she tried several times but failed. She didn't know if the seat belt slot was damaged or she was too anxious. "Luna, don't worry, I'm fine," Remy said. Hearing Remy's voice, Luna raised her head suddenly, her big eyes widened and turned red, and her eye sockets were already filled with tears that kept overflowing. Seeing this, Remy hurried forward and tried to open the car door but found that the door was stuck and could not be opened. Remy had no choice but to climb onto the hood and crawl in through the hole. He climbed in and helped Luna unbuckle her seat belt. Before Remy could say anything, Luna threw herself into Remy's arms and burst into tears. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I won't drive anymore, never again." "Yeah, of course, don't worry, I'm here." Holding Luna, Remy patted Luna's back gently and comforted her, feeling extremely complicated. This was the first time he saw Luna lose her composure like this, and the reason was because she was worried about him. But she forgot that it was Remy who asked her to drive, and it was Remy who allowed her to drive as much as she wanted and as casually as she wanted. Luna cried very hard. At first she was wailing loudly, but gradually the sound became silent and only the shaking shoulders proved that she was still crying. Gradually, the amplitude of her shoulders shaking became less and less until it stopped completely. She cried herself to sleep. "So you are also a silly girl." Remy pinched Luna's little face with heartache, picked her up and cast a levitation spell, floating out of the car along the shattered windshield in front, taking her to rest. Chapter 182. Remy, who was waiting beside the bed, was startled by Luna's sudden standing up. She sat up suddenly, looked around in confusion, and calmed down a little after seeing Remy. "How long have I slept?" Luna asked, clutching the quilt tightly with both hands. "It's been less than 5 minutes." Remy smiled and said, "Have a good rest, it's okay, I'll accompany you." Hearing that less than 5 minutes had passed, Luna was obviously relieved, then shook her head. "No, you go and continue the game. It's just a game, don't take it seriously. Remy said, and at the same time stretched out his hand to pinch Luna's little face. To me, you are much more important than the game. Maybe it was because of the ups and downs she had just experienced that caused her mentality to be a bit confused. After hearing Remy's love words and feeling the warmth of Remy's hands, Luna's face turned red, and her eyes gradually turned red as she looked at Remy. She reached out and gently held Remy's hand, pressing it against her face and rubbing it gently. I'm fine, it's just, you continue to compete, I'll withdraw when the black tide comes. Hey? Why did my clothes change back? Luna asked as she looked at her wizard robe which had returned to its original state. You just discovered it. Remy pinched Luna's little face again, pointed to the bulletproof vest, bulletproof helmet, a camouflage ball and a pair of shoes on the cabinet next to him, then sat sideways on the bed, took Luna into his arms, gently lifted her chin and made her look up at him. You didn't even notice that I took off your clothes after you woke up. Are you careless or do you think, you don't need to be shy with me? Remy teased with a smile. Hearing Remy's half-teasing, half-flirting words, Luna, who was already uncharacteristically calm today, looked at Remy with a look of panic and shyness that Remy had never seen before. You, what are you talking about? Aren't my clothes still on? How can those protective suits be considered clothes? Luna stuttered. With panic eyes running around, trembling eyelashes, and lightly bitten lips, Luna, who was completely out of control at this moment, exuded endless charm, causing Remy to lower his head involuntarily to steady Luna. Luna panicked at first, but when she met Remy's passionate and affectionate gaze, she somehow slowly calmed down and responded to Remy normally. After noticing Luna's change, Remy stopped and separated from her with a little regret, then he rolled his eyes and came up with a plan. He adjusted his sitting posture slightly and used alchemy to create a large pillow so that both of them could lie down comfortably. At first Luna was a little confused, but she didn't say anything. She just thought Remy felt uncomfortable leaning against the hard headboard because they could be considered half lying down before. But when Remy pulled the covers over them both, Luna panicked. What do you want to do? Luna asked nervously, her hands tightly grasping the edge of the quilt that had covered her shoulders, as if this could stop something. Since you think, those things you just took off don't count as clothes, then. Remy whispered in Luna's ear, and at the same time reached into the quilt and hugged Luna. Luna's body instantly tensed up as if she was under a petrification spell, her whole body stiffened, and her face quickly heated up. You, don't, I admit that the bulletproof vest, is also clothes, okay? Luna raised her head and looked at Remy pitifully and said softly. As she spoke, she reached out and grabbed Remy's wrist, but her force was not strong, she just lightly grabbed it and shook it gently while speaking. The gentle movements, the warmth from her palms and the tenderness in her eyes, at this moment Luna not only did not let Remy understand the meaning of stopping her, but instead made Remy misunderstand that she was encouraging him. So Remy didn't listen to her and continued to look at her lovingly. Accompanied by rustling sounds, as one piece of clothing after another was taken out and put aside, Luna stopped talking, but her breathing became faster and more irregular. But she didn't try to stop it, nor did she push Remy away, nor did she run away. She just silently accepted everything Remy did to her. It wasn't really cooperation, but she was powerless to resist either. The blush on her face had already reached her ears, and even her fair neck was dyed a lovely pink. Holding Luna in his arms, Remy could clearly feel her body temperature rising rapidly as if she had a cold or a fever. She was even more powerless than before, and it was even more unclear whether she wanted to stop it or not. Luna. Whispering Luna's name, Remy turned sideways, hugged Luna again, and kissed her shoulder. Holding her at this moment is like holding a hand warmer, warm and caring. Luna's body trembled. She didn't say anything. She just curled up silently with her back against Remy's chest. She didn't dare to turn her head to look at Remy, let alone look at the clothes beside her. Seeing that Luna ignored him, Remy waited for a while and thought about it, then his eyes rolled again, and then he reached out and touched her little feet, and tickled her solace at the speed of light. Luna's body trembled again, and then she uttered a dissatisfied sound and threw her shoulders back, giving Remy a painless close-fitting attack. This move is also called Tishan Cow or Tishan Cow. Remy chuckled and pulled Luna's arm like pulling a ball, easily turning Luna, who was facing away from him, to face him. As she kept avoiding his shy gaze, Remy reached out and gently smoothed her messy and smooth blonde hair, tidying it up bit by bit, very carefully. Seeing Remy's eyes fully focused on helping her fix her hair, Luna gradually stopped avoiding his gaze. She looked at Remy lovingly, her eyes gradually becoming blurred, until Remy fixed her hair and kissed her forehead, then she suddenly came to her senses and quickly lowered her head to avoid him. But, it did not succeed. Remy kissed Luna gently and looked into her eyes with deep affection and passion. However, Luna's eyes were tightly closed and her arms were like hard steel and tough ropes that bound her tightly. But slowly, her strength of resistance gradually weakened, and her arms made of fine steel gradually turned into soft cotton wool, and the situation gradually changed. Some people say that Luna's representative flower is the ever-happy and quirky daisy, but Remy thinks that the night-blooming Sirius better represents Luna. Epiphyllum is elegant, majestic, and lively, but it only blooms in the dead of night when no one is around, admiring its own beauty, just like Luna who is not understood by others. And today, Luna is like a short-lived Sirius, blooming quietly in a place where Remy can't see. Remy hugged Luna tightly, kissed her passionately, and until squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Boom. Chapter 183. The sudden explosion woke up the young couple who were indulging in decadent music. Luna screamed and pushed Remy away, grabbing the quilt and wrapping herself like a cocoon in an instant. Remy cursed and looked at the cocoon, feeling like he had a million words stuck in his throat. He knew that this might be the end of the matter today. The first time was full of energy, the second was weaker, and the third was exhausted. After this interruption, I don't know how long it will take before the next opportunity to renew our relationship. This made Remy feel infinite regret in his heart, regretting that he had wasted too much time on foreplay and had not yet entered the main act. After reflecting on his mistakes, he was filled with anger. I want to see who is so ignorant. Remy gritted his teeth and forced out a few words. With a gloomy face, he equipped himself with equipment one by one. After blocking the room to prevent anyone from entering, he rushed downstairs with a gun in hand. There was no one downstairs, only a car stuck in the window was burning fiercely, emitting light and heat, while bursts of pungent smell mixed with thick smoke irritated people's nasal cavity. This made Remy's face even gloomier. It would be fine if the two teams were fighting and there was a fire and explosion, but he can only blame his bad luck for choosing the wrong place. But this FG explosion was caused by someone blowing up a car. Who the hell is so rude? Snap! With the bullet loaded, Remy opened the door and walked out of the room. Arriving in front of the car, Remy glanced at the crater, analyzed the angle of the crater, and then looked in the direction of the shooting. He immediately saw a person in the window of the two-story building opposite. The man was pointing his gun at another direction through the window. Perhaps because he was concentrating on the scope, he did not notice Remy's presence. Humph! He even changed to a sniper rifle. You really know how to play, you thief! With a cold snort, Remy raised his gun and fired 5 shots. Not only did all 5 bullets hit the target, but 3 of them hit the chest and 2 hit the head. Instant seconds. Seeing that the other party did not disappear but fell down, Remy sneered, threw the gun behind his back and rushed forward. You still have teammates? Perfect, 2 kills. No matter how many of you there are, you all must die today. All of you must die. Remy jumped over the half-person high retaining wall with one hand and turned on the wild mode and ran directly to the other party's house. Picking up the gun again and listening to the noise inside, Remy kicked the door open, took a look at the situation inside and rushed straight to the stairs. After stepping heavily on the stairs twice, Remy paused and silently counted 3, 2, 1. Then he took 2 big steps forward and raised the gun above his head to surrender. No, he raised the gun above his head and fired at the second floor in a rotating manner. While firing, Remy looked over and saw a figure shrinking into the room. Without hesitation, Remy turned the gun and fired a burst of shots, emptying the magazine and knocking him down successfully. Just as Remy was about to change bullets, a burst of chaotic footsteps interrupted him. Without having time to take out the bullet box to change bullets, Remy threw the M4 behind him and took out the VSS sniper rifle with one hand. If the other gun Remy carries is a single-shot sniper rifle, then at this moment he can only retreat downstairs or find a corner to block the view and then look for an opportunity. Even if you are carrying a sniper rifle like SKS or Mini, you can only retreat, because compared to VSS, although they can also fire continuously, the speed is too slow. This is another major advantage of the VSS gun. It can temporarily serve as an automatic rifle or submachine gun at critical moments, especially after being equipped with an expanded magazine to upgrade the number of bullets. He held the VSS and fired directly. Although the first few shots missed the target, fortunately Remy quickly stabilized the sniper rifle with extremely low recoil and successfully knocked down the man who walked out of the room and wanted to fight back. The two people who fell to the ground shouted frantically, but because the other party turned on the team voice, Remy couldn't hear what they were saying. He could only see them opening their mouths constantly. MMP. I'm going to disable the team voice chat function when I get back. Why can't I hear what they're saying even though I'm so close to them? Because he couldn't hear what they were saying, Remy could only judge how many people were inside by the sound of footsteps, but the footsteps were very chaotic, so Remy could only judge that there was more than one person inside. With no other options, he rolled to the corner, and Remy changed into Ma again and took out the bullet box to load it with bullets. If only we had found grenades before, we could throw one in and send them all spiraling into the sky. Remy, who was already in a bad mood, became even more indignant at this moment, and the more he thought about it, the angrier he got. He was so angry that after replacing the bullets, Remy rushed in with the gun. Without grenades or smoke bombs, if he dragged on any longer and waited for the two men to be pulled up, he would be in a passive position. He would then be unable to advance or retreat, and it would be even more uncomfortable to be unable to do so. It would be better to rush in now while the other party is definitely rescuing people. Rushing into the room, under the gaze of the other party's instantly widened eyes, Remy immediately turned the muzzle of the gun towards the only person standing and shot instantly. He fell down instantly, and Remy turned the gun and pointed it at the three people squatting in the corner. Because the three of them were huddled in a corner, and the situation was urgent, Remy couldn't tell which one was saving people, so he emptied their magazines. When the magazine was emptied, the three people in the corner had disappeared, leaving only 3 boxes to prove that they had been there. Oh, there's another one next to it. 1v4, wins. Bah! What a pity that one of you is missing, otherwise I would have killed your entire family, that would have been a relief. Remy spat at the ashes of the 4 naughty guys, and feeling better, he threw his gun behind his back, squatted down, searched the scene and checked his gains. Submachine guns, rifles, sniper rifles, 8x scopes, information packs, suppressant drinks, grenades, smoke bombs, gun accessories. What's even more outrageous is that the 4 of them were able to put together 2.5 sets of level 3 suits. And 2 level 3 bags. These 4 are not urns at all, they are clearly 4 golden treasure chests. No wonder they are so arrogant. It turns out that they are just too rich because of the equipment. Where did these idiots find all this equipment? Or did they kill a lot of people before? But the equipment in this game is just icing on the cake. The key to victory or defeat is still your own level. After looting the bag and taking the supplies in a good mood, Remy looked at the remaining guns and hesitated for a moment before deciding not to change guns. Although the power of a single-shot sniper is tempting, the cost is too high once the gun misses. Moreover, we are not playing a virtual game now, and there are too few opportunities for ultra-long-range sniping. It is better to continue using the more versatile continuous sniper. Remy came in beggar's clothes and left in God's clothes. His mood turned from gloomy to bright, and he happily returned to his original house. But when he saw Luna, who was already fully armed, Remy's good mood instantly disappeared. I won the game but lost her. It was such a frustrating win. Chapter 184. The Lord of the Black Tide has been refreshed. You can get super powerful items after killing him. The specific location can be checked on the map. Bold red letters suddenly appeared on his glasses. Harry stopped running and looked at Ronald and Hermione. The 3 of them took out their tablets to check the map. It's not far, but we don't have a car. If we run there on foot, there are probably only 2 results. Hermione put away the tablet and raised 2 fingers, one is that we go too late and have a wasted trip, and the other is that we run into the enemy who has already obtained the so-called super powerful item. Then let's not go. It will only be dangerous if we go, said Ronald. Wait, look at the map. Remy and Luna are moving towards the location of the Lord of the Black Tide. Harry said. The 2 were stunned for a moment and quickly took out their tablets to open the map. Sure enough, they saw 2 small dots on the map moving quickly away from the 3 of them, and the direction was exactly the direction of the Lord of the Black Tide. This. Ronald scratched his head, feeling a little confused. Go ahead, it's too dangerous. Let's not go. Remy, the founder of the game, has already gone, and they were originally planning to meet up with Remy. Since Remy has gone, we should go too. Hermione thought for a moment and said, if he can take care of the others, there will be no danger for us to go. On the contrary, if Remy and Luna are eliminated, our team will be short of 2 people, and it will be difficult to fight later. That makes sense, let's go. I've marked the direction, just follow me, Harry said. Okay. Ronald nodded helplessly. I hope Remy is going there to have fun, not just to have fun. Ronald didn't know that Remy, whom he was complaining about at the moment, was not just playing seriously. It was clear that Remy had already turned on the violent mode and vowed to massacre everyone in the audience. Driving the car that took away the team he had wiped out, Remy looked gloomy and stared straight ahead. Luna, who was sitting in the passenger seat, lowered her head and said nothing, holding the gun tightly in her arms. Remy drove very fast but steadily, just like his mood at the moment, he just wanted to kill people. They sped along the road until there was no longer a road in the direction of the Lord of the Black Tide. Remy reminded Luna and turned the steering wheel and drove into the wilderness. The road conditions in the wilderness are much worse. Fortunately, since it is not a natural terrain, most of the ground is actually quite smooth. It's just that it's sometimes uphill and sometimes downhill, which makes people dizzy. If you don't wear a seat belt, you are likely to hit your head due to the uneven terrain. They drove all the way to the top of a hill, where Remy stopped the car and looked at the tablet to confirm the direction. It's in the front left. You should get there just by climbing over that hill. Be careful, there may be someone on that hill. Remy said. Luna hummed lightly and raised her head slightly, at the same time lowering the gun that was almost vertically held and aiming it forward. Driving downhill and then uphill, Remy was about to brake after reaching the top of the hill when suddenly the whole car shook, which scared both Remy and Luna. Remy quickly stepped on the brake pedal and pulled up the handbrake. Just as Remy was about to reach out and press down Luna's head to prevent her from being shot in the head, Remy was stunned for a moment and then regained his composure, even a little speechless. Are there enemies? Where are they? Luna asked nervously while holding the gun and shaking her head left and right to observe. Under the car, I ran over him and killed him. Ah! It was a minor car accident, nothing happened, he was the only one, he was eliminated directly. As he spoke, Remy pulled up the handbrake and drove the car forward a little, then unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car. Seeing this, Luna also hurriedly unbuckled her seatbelt and got out of the car. When I got out of the car, I saw that there was indeed a square urn lying next to a pile of grass in the back of the car. It seems that this man was waiting here for the people below to fight each other so that he could take advantage of the situation. Unfortunately, he ran into a wild killer like me. Remy said, glancing at the other side of the hillside. On the other side of the hillside is a basin-like area. At the bottom of the basin is a relic shaped like a bagua formation, with many broken walls and ruins that can serve as shelters. Remy built many similar terrains on the island, which are the trial grounds specifically used to refresh the Lord of the Black Tide. This can also be considered a change. Remy abandoned the original airdrop setting and changed it to a random refresh in 20 fixed locations to be more in line with the background story setting. At this moment, there were 7 people below who were surrounded by the Lord of the Black Tide in the middle of the ruins in different positions. The Lord of the Black Tide, who was dressed like a Dementor with a big bald head and no nose, shouted that he was the Dark Lord and threw out green lights at will. The 7 people who were suppressed didn't even dare to show their heads, and they didn't even dare to move. Because some of the green light will produce a ricochet effect when hitting some of the intact white pillars in the ruins, the endless green light will ricochet to form a huge spider web, trapping the 7 people firmly in the web. You will be killed instantly if you touch these green lights. However, as the chief planner, Remy knew very well that this move was the skill of the Lord of the Black Tide, not a normal attack, and would not last too long. What should we do? Go down and help them? Luna asked in a low voice, tightening the gun in her hand. Of course not. Have you forgotten? This is a knockout round. Remy said, and then introduced the characteristics and skill details of the Lord of the Black Tide to Luna. After the introduction, Remy pointed at the people in the ruins and said, they are the best targets now. You can practice shooting with them, and I will help you scout the enemy. This isn't good, is it? Luna hesitated. Even if it's a knockout match, they are fighting the Lord of the Black Tide right now. It's not good for us to add insult to injury, is it? You forgot the game settings. According to the settings, the Dark Demon has planted Dark Devil eggs in us. If you don't use the purifier to purify them now, the Dark Devil eggs in their bodies will soon be hatched by the Dark Demon Lord. At that time, they will not only die, but also be possessed by the dark demon. Remy said. After listening to Remy talk about the background setting of the game, Luna suddenly understood. Not only did she no longer feel guilty, she even felt full of motivation. Got it, I'll purify them right now. Luna nodded vigorously, then squatted down and aimed her gun at the person below according to the squatting shooting posture Remy had taught her before. Looking at Luna's serious expression on her face, Remy breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that fortunately Luna didn't hold a grudge against him because of what happened before, nor did her temperament change drastically. Does this mean that he still has a chance to rekindle his relationship with Luna in the near future? Just as I was daydreaming, there was a bang and Luna fired a shot. She hit the person closest to her. Although that person was hiding behind the cover, he was facing them sideways and was perfectly exposed to their sight. After one shot, the opponent was obviously frightened and shook his head like a headless fly, turning his head around and adjusting his position constantly. Luna, hit it. Chapter 185. His shooting skills are surprisingly good. Remy looked at Luna and couldn't help but nodded in approval. When Remy was playing a team competition map with Luna before, he discovered that Luna quickly got the hang of firearms, which was due to her usual calmness. But Remy never knew how good her shooting skills were because he had never seen Luna shoot from a distance before. Remy whispered to continue and continued to watch Luna's performance. Perhaps because the opponent was moving all the time, Luna's second shot did not hit, but the range was not too off, which made Remy's eyes light up. Don't use the M24, use my VSS, it's a sniper rifle with low recoil and can fire continuously. Remy said. Luna, who was pulling the bolt to reload, hesitated for a moment and then nodded, exchanging guns with Remy. In reality, exchanging guns is much easier. You don't need to throw the parts one by one. You can just give the whole gun to the other person. After changing to a new gun, Luna took aim and fired again. This time the first shot went farther than the previous one, and the next two shots fired in succession flew even higher. But soon, Luna mastered the difference between the two guns and successfully hit a target with one shot in a burst. After 7 shots, Luna was able to hit 2 targets in 3 bursts. With this learning speed, it's no exaggeration to call him a sniper genius. While admiring Luna, Remy suddenly caught a glimpse of something wrong, which made Remy focus his eyes and quickly raised the M24 in his hand to aim at another hill in the distance to the right front. Through the telescope, Remy easily spotted 2 sneaky figures. You two dare to wade into this muddy water? Do you think you are me? With a disdainful sneer, Remy aimed at one of them and shot him decisively just as he stopped beside a rock. Bang! The sudden gunshot so close to her startled Luna, but just as she was about to get up, she heard Remy say calmly, "It's okay, I'll take care of it." Out of trust in Remy, Luna took a deep breath and aimed her gun at the person below, looking for any eyes within shooting range. Snap! Holding the M24 horizontally, Remy pulled the bolt to reload, and before the ejected shell hit the ground, he pulled the trigger again. Following another bang, Remy was stunned for a moment in surprise. Oh my goodness, both of them are down. Do they have teammates? Muttering to himself, Remy used the scope to look carefully, but he still couldn't find the 2 teammates until the elimination prompt appeared on the goggles. Tisk, after all this time, it turns out he's not around. Pursing his lips, Remy put down his gun and continued to patrol the surroundings and the hills on both sides and opposite. When he saw something wrong, he picked up the gun and used the scope to check carefully. Relying on good vision and familiarity with the terrain, Remy soon discovered several things that were wrong, including 2 empty vehicles with no trace of the enemy, and a lone wolf hiding behind a tree. The lone wolf was hiding in a tricky position. From where Remy was standing, he could only see half of the gun barrel and couldn't see his body at all. After a moment's hesitation, Remy aimed at the ground in front of the gun barrel and pulled the trigger, alerting the enemy. Bang! After 1 shot, the effect was excellent. The opponent not only moved his position, but also found a stone to hide behind after running a short distance and did not move. This time, most of his body was exposed in Remy's sight. Goodbye. Bang! After taking him away with 1 shot, Remy continued to look for other potential enemies, firing 1 or 2 shots from time to time. The number of survivors displayed in the upper right corner of the glasses kept jumping and decreasing, and one by one the contestants were sent off the island in confusion without any gaming experience. Suddenly, a rustling sound made Remy's heart tighten. He quickly threw the M24 in his hand behind his back and replaced it with M4, while turning around and aiming at the side and rear. "Don't shoot! Remy, it's me. Harry, oh, you're all here." Looking at the panting Harry, Remy, who had finished the killing and was in a much better mood, smiled, put down his gun and said hello. The two who arrived later also greeted Remy weakly, and after catching their breath, they started to attack Harry, complaining about why he ran so fast. Apologizing profusely and taking a breath of relief, Harry walked over to Remy and was about to ask about the situation, but when he caught a glimpse of the Lord of the Dark Tide in the valley, he immediately lost his composure. "Voldemort! Everybody run!" Harry yelled. "Bang, keep your voice down!" Remy patted Harry's shoulder and said unhappily, "This is the Lord of the Dark Tide, also known as the Dark Lord." "The Dark Lord? The Lord of the Dark Tide?" Ronald asked in confusion, walked forward, looked down and immediately took a breath of cold noodles. "Oh my god, Remy, what were you thinking? Why did you design the Lord of the Black Tide to look like this? Could he be a real person?" Ronald asked, swallowing. "What nonsense are you talking about? I don't have the ability to get him to act in person," Remy said unhappily. "To be honest, even if you say he is real, I don't think it's impossible." Hermione glanced at Remy and said, "After all, you hit him with a club under his spell at that time. What do you mean by knocking him out?" Remy was immediately unhappy. "I clearly defeated him with the stun magic." Okay, it's magic, physical magic, but why did you design the Lord of the Dark Tide to be Voldemort? You must have done it on purpose, right?" Harry asked. "Of course it's for you to practice your courage," Remy said. "The Lord of the Black Tide has a very high attack power. He can kill us instantly with just one hit, so we can only use long-range sniping. Who of you will try first? One person should stay with me to guard against sneak attacks." Harry and Hermione's eyes lit up and they both looked eager to try, while Ronald couldn't help but shrink his neck when he looked at the Lord of the Dark Tide below. I'll be on guard with you. I don't have a sniper rifle," Ronald said. "Well, Harry, Hermione, the two of you spread out a little and find a cover each. Work with Luna to clear the enemies below first, and then attack the Lord of the Dark Tide," Remy arranged. The two nodded and followed Remy's instructions. One of them found a tree to cover most of his body, then raised his gun and aimed at the enemy below and started shooting. The gunshots from the three men continued one after another, while Remy and Ronald held their guns and stood guard in all directions, creating a good shooting environment for them. Soon, the people below were either killed directly by the three snipers or were exposed to the Black Tide Lord's sight because of avoiding shooting and were killed instantly by the Black Tide Lord. The whole valley suddenly became quiet. The three of them looked at Remy together, and after Remy nodded to indicate that they could begin, the three of them launched a general attack on the Lord of the Black Tide. Remy patted Ronald on the shoulder and came to the side of the car, set up the M24 and aimed at the Lord of the Black Tide. After a brief aim, Remy pulled the trigger. Bang! Big nose. Chapter 186. The damage is not great, but the insult is great. The Dark Lord, whose nose was blasted by a bullet, roared angrily and shot dozens of death fingers in the direction of Remy. However, their range was slightly lacking, and none of them could break through half the distance. So Remy calmly shot him again. If you don't know how to use it, this Dark Lord, whose all attacks can kill others instantly, can be called an unstoppable boss. But after knowing how to play, it instantly fell from the altar and became a sitting duck. After 5 minutes of unleashing fire, the Dark Lord let out an unwilling roar. I will definitely come back. Bang! The Dark Lord's body grew bigger and rounder, and finally exploded into a black mist and disappeared, replaced by a super luxurious treasure chest shining with golden light. We won! Harry exclaimed and turned to look at Remy. Shall we open the treasure chest now? No rush, let's get rid of the little mice around first. There are 3 stones in direction 285, and there is a person behind the highest stone. Remy said. There were 2 in the 170 direction, very far away, behind the trees. I saw them, said Ronald. Then let's deal with them first. We must not let them steal our spoils, said Harry. While sharing intelligence, the second round of war began. When they were fighting the Dark Lord before, their position had already been exposed, and as soon as they started fighting, they were immediately counterattacked by the opponent. And it's not just one side, and it's not even just the 3 people they have already discovered. Fortunately, those people were not from the same team, but Remy and the other 5 were all there, and with Remy and Luna being 2 good shooters, they were able to suppress them in the firepower confrontation for a while. But it is not without harm. A master can be killed by a random beating of sticks, let alone the opponent who is holding a gun. Even if the shooting skills are terrible, after a few rounds of shooting, he will always hit a few bullets. But as time went on, no one on Remy's side was eliminated, while their ragtag army kept losing members, and the balance of victory soon tilted to one side. Da-da-da-da-da. Ha ha ha, I knocked down someone. He's eliminated directly. Ronald said excitedly. I'll take one down too, but my bulletproof vest is running out of durability. Does any one of you have any extra ones? Harry asked. How can there be extra of this stuff? Remy, how about you change the settings so that each of us can bring a few more bulletproof vests? Hermione asked. If it's changed, I'm sure everyone's backpack will be filled with bulletproof vests and helmets, and the game will be different. Remy said, after you deal with other people, check their backpacks to see if they have any. You can definitely find a few sets that are still usable. If we can't get them together, it'll be over. We won't have time to search for new bulletproof vests if we shrink the circle. I feel like it's a bit of a loss to fight this Lord of the Black Tide. Harry said. High risk, high reward. The supplies in the treasure chest below can definitely make up for all losses, said Remy. Really? Then I'm really looking forward to it. They continued to shoot at the enemy in the distance while chatting, but the reality was that if Remy and Luna were not counted, the 3 of them would most likely run out of ammunition and food without being able to eliminate the other side. As expected, Ronald was the first to run out of bullets, and when he went to Harry to ask for bullets, he was shot and knocked down. It wasn't because the other party's shooting skills were so good that he shot him in the head, but because he was having too much fun before and didn't use potions to replenish his blood after being hit. His blood volume had already been reduced to the bottom, and he fell down at the first touch. Fortunately, the place where he fell was very close to Harry, and the opponent's shooting skills were very poor, so he was able to successfully crawl to Harry's side in the hail of bullets and was rescued by Harry, and at the same time he also got some bullets. After being resurrected and replenishing his health with Remy's reminder, Ronald picked up his gun and started firing again. Although he didn't hit many shots, he exerted full suppression power and created many opportunities for others. Submachine guns are still fun. This is the gun that men should use. I have decided that I will play with submachine guns from now on. Ronald said excitedly. You shoot so fast and still miss. What's the fun in that? Harry complained. You still have to use a sniper rifle. Bang! Kill one with one shot. So satisfying. It's just that my shooting skills are not good. I will definitely become very good after practicing more. I have found some feeling now. After this game is over, I will go to Desert Grey to practice submachine gun. Ronald said. I suspect you just want to waste my bullets. Remy complained. Oh yeah, Remy, will we have any problem using so many bullets? It must cost you a lot of money to make bullets, right? Hermione asked. No, these are fake bullets. In fact, each magazine can have unlimited bullets, but I have limited it. Remy shook his head and explained, real bullets are more expensive, but this is just a game, it's impossible to use real bullets. What kind of real bullets are you going to make? I remember that ordinary bullets were not very effective against Voldemort. Although they could suppress him, they could not hurt him at all. Harry asked. Don't worry, my newly invented real bullets will definitely hurt him. Remy said. At the same time, he added in his mind, I can even kill him with one shot. The intensive gunfire continued for another 5 minutes, and finally all the enemies were gone. Most of them were eliminated by them, and a small part ran out of ammunition and food and retreated. After waiting for a while to make sure there were no enemies around, the 5 of them got in the car and headed to the center of the valley to open the treasure chest. This car was parked on the top of the hill as a cover since the beginning of the battle, and it still had more than half of its durability left until the end. This shows how good their marksmanship is. Of course, it is not ruled out that they did not know that blowing up a car could cause casualties, so they did not do so. Beep beep beep, honking the horn, the car drove to the treasure chest. Ronald was the first to get out of the car and rushed straight to the treasure chest. Even when Harry called him, he didn't respond, which made Harry only smile awkwardly at Remy. It's okay, we are all in the same team, it doesn't matter who gets it, said Remy. How can they be the same? No matter how good something is, it won't be able to perform its function in Ronald's hands. He just knows how to mess around. Hermione complained. It doesn't matter. My current equipment is enough, as long as I don't encounter enemies with equipment from the Black Tide Lord's treasure chest. Remy said. Oh my god. Remy. It's your product. Ronald exclaimed, shaking the oversized sniper rifle in his hand. Remy's eyes suddenly lit up. He stuffed a lot of things into this treasure chest. This Barrett sniper rifle was not the best, but it also did not have the highest drop rate. He did not expect it to appear in the first game. What a lucky guy. I want this gun, do you have any objection? Remy asked. The others shook their heads at the same time, all agreeing that Remy should take the gun. Chapter 187. In addition to the Barrett sniper rifle, the treasure chest also contains the standard level 5 bulletproof suit, ghillie suit, and a 16x scope. It's a pity that there was no invisibility cloak, otherwise it would have been a sure kill. After discussion among several people, the level 5 bulletproof suit was given to Ronald, who was the most vulnerable, and the ghillie suit was given to Harry, who fell in love with sniping. Originally Harry had refused to give it to Luna, who had a higher level of sniping skills, but because the ghillie suit was green, Remy refused on Luna's behalf. After changing into their equipment and getting in the car, the Black Tide came again just in time. They left in the car without having time to search for equipment, and Remy was still driving. After taking a look at the map, I found that the safe zone was even smaller this time, with only the hospital and ruins being completely included, and even Port G being mostly excluded. How about going directly to G-Town? It's in the middle of the safe zone, and we won't need to run when the safe zone location is refreshed. Remy suggested. After a discussion, several people had no objection, so Remy drove slightly off the straight line and headed for Town G. Nothing happened along the way, no one was encountered and no gunshots were heard, but the number of survivors continued to decrease. I don't know whether they fought to the death somewhere else or were eliminated by the Black Tide. After arriving safely at G-Town, Remy parked the car next to the tallest building and motioned Ronald to get off first. Ronald, you are almost invincible with level 5 armor. You should be the first to enter the house to prevent an ambush. Remy said. No problem. But you have to follow closely, I only have 30 bullets left. Ronald said. Don't worry, we will follow you. Harry said, shaking the gun in his hand. Let Ronald take the lead. Ronald was quite reckless and arrogant. He kicked the door open and walked in without any intention of locating the location by listening to the sound. No one, safe. Ronald said. Be careful, this place has been searched. Remy looked at the few supplies on the floor of the room and said, Ronald, check every room, and then we will go to the second floor together. The door was locked after being searched? Ronald, be careful, Hermione said. After being reminded by Remy and Hermione, Ronald came to his senses and nodded seriously. After searching all the rooms on the first floor, Ronald was sure there were no problems. He took a deep breath and walked to the second floor. As soon as he emerged from the stairs, before he could see the situation on the second floor clearly, a burst of dense gunfire scared him so much that he staggered and almost fell down the stairs. Fortunately, Remy caught him in time from behind. There is an ambush indeed. Retreat, retreat first, said Remy. Several people retreated hastily, and the gunfire from above soon stopped. What should we do? It seems there is more than one person here, and we can't force our way in. How about we change houses? Ronald, who was frightened, backed down. No hurry. Remy shook his head and took out a grenade and shook it. Did you all pick up the grenades? Luna's eyes lit up, and she quickly took out 2 grenades from her backpack, 1 in each hand. I picked up 5. Luna said, her excitement barely concealed in her voice. Remy's mouth twitched, and he nodded silently before looking at the others. He couldn't understand why Luna liked grenades, but, if she liked it, what else could he do except support her? After all, it was he who helped her develop this hobby. In addition to Luna, the big grenade owner, Harry saved 2, Ronald also saved 2, and Hermione didn't bring any, but Harry gave her 1. Each person had a grenade. Under Remy's command, the 5 people lined up and walked to the stairs. Remy took the lead and threw 2 grenades upwards. Immediately afterwards, Luna also threw 2 grenades upwards, 1 in each hand. Next came Harry and Hermione, who threw 1 each. Finally, it was Ronald's turn, and he also threw one. With the continuous loud bangs of bang bang bang, before the noise stopped, several people received the notification that their team was wiped out at the same time. All the people upstairs were killed by them using grenades. Hermione's eyes lit up and then flashed with a strange light, as if she had also awakened something strange. Ronald screamed as he rushed to the second floor first. Boxes! All boxes! 4 boxes! We are rich! Ronald said excitedly. Great! Grenades are so useful! Hermione said, see if they have any grenades in their boxes. I'll get some more. Remy. Damn it, Hermione is really infected. There are 4 boxes, each containing a complete set of protective gear, just enough for the 4 people except Ronald. Although one of the sets in the middle is a level 1 set, it is still better than what they have. Bullets, drinks, first aid kits, scopes. Although there were no particularly good scopes or equipment, these common items were very abundant. It was obvious that these men had spent quite a while searching, so perhaps they had been searching for supplies before that. But now, they acted as a transport team, not only helping Remy and his team solve the problem of almost exhausted bullets, but also filling up their backpacks. Ronald seemed a little restless after replenishing his backpack with a new load of bullets, but both Remy and Harry preferred to stay hidden for a while and wait for the next circle to shrink. Helpless, Ronald could only suppress his restless heart and pace back and forth in the house. Finally, Remy, who was really fed up with watching, gave Ronald an idea, asking him to go to the rooftop to scout, or serve as a target to attract the enemy. It was originally a bad idea, but Ronald agreed to it immediately. The remaining 4 people were scattered on the second floor and were also carefully observing their surroundings. At the same time, they heard Ronald on the rooftop constantly shouting and mocking the people around him. Ronald, I think you're being too arrogant. Be careful that others might get angry and throw grenades at you, Harry complained. What are you afraid of? Didn't Remy tell you that even a grenade can't kill me with this set of armor? I am invincible now. Ronald said arrogantly. I didn't say that. What I said was that 1 grenade can't kill you, but if 2 are thrown at your feet, they will definitely kill you, said Remy. You must be joking. With my ability, who can use a grenade? Bang! I'm so angry. Someone! Save me! 4 people! Why aren't you so arrogant anymore? Hurry up! Come and save me! They really threw a mine! Ronald shouted again. Stop howling, you weren't knocked down by the explosion, just come down by yourself. Remy said. No, Ronald, don't come down. Stay up there to attract fire to prevent the other side from throwing grenades into the second floor. Hermione said hurriedly. Oh my god! What do you mean? Are you going to sacrifice me? Ronald said in shock. What sacrifice or not? Isn't this your own choice? If you hadn't shouted just now, nothing would have happened. Look quickly at where the enemy is. I don't see anything here. Harry said. You guys wait. I saw them. Oh my god. They are in the house next to us. On the left. No, in the direction of 107. On the second floor balcony of a house across from us. Chapter 188. There are only a few buildings in the small town of G, but it is possible that 2 teams can hide there, and the fight has not started yet. Remy felt that he had underestimated his classmates. They were all the worst. Fortunately, their patience was limited, and Ronald had good eyesight and spotted them. If they had waited until they were evacuating and then suddenly attacked, the consequences would have been disastrous. Direction 107, right? Luna, Harry, Hermione, you 3 stay away from the window. I'll do it. After informing the 3 people, Remy replaced his rifle with a Barrett and ran to the window. There was no one to be seen in this direction, as the view was completely blocked by the house next to it. Even if Remy replaced 3 windows, it was useless. But Remy didn't care, because he had Barrett. Aiming the Barrett in the direction of 107, Remy pulled the trigger at the wall of the building next to him, and with a loud bang, a shot blew a hole in the opposite wall. Harry, who was hiding aside to protect Remy from being attacked, was stunned when he saw what happened. Oh my god! Remy, are you kidding me? Is this a real gun? It won't hurt anyone, right? Harry asked. Don't worry, it's only effective against buildings. Hitting people will only eliminate them, not hurt them. Remy explained, pulling the bolt to throw out a bullet shell that was almost as big as his palm, and then he took aim again and fired another shot. Looking at the building with 2 large holes blown out of it and listening to the huge roar beside his ears, Harry swallowed his saliva. Are you sure? Why am I so unconvinced? Of course I am sure. As he said that, Remy pulled the trigger again and fired another shot, blasting through another layer of the wall. Each shot could blast through a layer of the wall, and create a large hole with a diameter of 2 meters in the wall. The Barrett is an anti-material sniper rifle, which is specially used to attack special vehicles and important material points on the battlefield. I have enhanced its characteristics and it is used specifically to penetrate bunkers in this game. Remy explained, and pulled the trigger again, finally penetrating the building next to it. When the last shot was fired, Remy saw 2 shocked faces through the big hole in the building next to him. Without being polite to them, Remy pulled the bolt, took a quick look and pulled the trigger again. To hell with your bunker, boom! With one shot, the 2 opponents disappeared along with the balcony, leaving only 2 wooden boxes falling down firmly. Your gun king is infinitely rampant. Oh my god! Remy, you are so awesome! You beat both of them to death. Ronald said excitedly. Basic operation, basic operation. Ronald, did you see clearly how many people they had just now? The Barrett sniper rifle will eliminate anyone directly, and we can't rule out the possibility that they have teammates. Remy said while changing bullets. I just saw 3 people, there should be at least 1 more. Ronald said. Okay, I'll take care of him. Remy said. Wait. Ronald called out to Remy, I saw 3 people running out of that house. They must be trying to escape. I'll beat them up. Before he finished speaking, the 4 people on the 2nd floor heard the sound of gunfire coming from above their heads. Remy thought for a moment and called a few people to climb up to the roof along the stairs. Upstairs, Ronald stood alone by the fence and fired wildly at the people below, making the 3 people below run away in panic. Unfortunately, no one was knocked down. Ronald was a little too even-handed. Most of the bullets were wasted in the process of pulling the gun, and only a few of the remaining bullets could hit the target. But I have to say, he played with great momentum. You are really suitable for using submachine guns. You have a good grasp of fire suppression. Remy praised. Really? Ha 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 ha, I think so too. After reloading, Ronald fired again, and Remy and others also joined the team. Unfortunately, the 3 men had already run far away, and in the end they didn't achieve any results except wasting a lot of bullets. But when playing games, having fun is the most important thing. Seeing those 3 guys being beaten and running around everywhere, everyone was having a lot of fun. They returned to the room on the 2nd floor and waited for a while. During this time, Ronald, under the company and protection of Harry, licked the 2 bags, replenished some bullets, and also brought an extra level 2 helmet. It's a pity that the remaining armor was shattered by Remy's shot, otherwise their team would have truly recovered to full health. But it's not a big problem. Anyway, judging from the average shooting skills of the players I met before, armor is not very useful and is far less effective than a teammate who can save lives and heal the wounded. After waiting for a while, the circle shrank. This time, the safe zone was instantly reduced by half and shrunk to an open space, with only a few buildings scattered around the edge. This time it was Remy who made the final decision on the direction. He marked a high ground and prepared to look down from there to maximize the power of the Barrett anti-material sniper rifle in his hand. With this gun in hand, only a fool would engage in street fighting with them. We got in the car, and this time Ronald, who had been eager to try, drove. You know what, although he drove a little wildly, at least there were no traffic accidents along the way. He didn't even crash when driving in the woods. His driving skills were quite good. Wait! Remy, there's a car on the right. Harry suddenly shouted. Where? Where? Ronald asked excitedly, where? I bumped into him. No, don't hit them, just follow them. Remy said quickly, if the car explodes, we will all fall except you. Just follow them, I will try to blow up their car. Okay, but where are they? Why can't I see them? Ronald said. It's on the right, don't turn your head. Hermione raised her voice nervously and said, don't move. Follow our instructions. Oh, okay, then tell me which direction to go. Go a little to the right and get to the open area first. Under the combined command of Harry and Hermione, Ronald soon spotted the car, and excitedly stepped on the accelerator to chase after it. Seeing the two cars getting closer, Remy, who was sitting with Luna in the back seat, nudged Luna with the Barrett sniper rifle in his hand. "Do you want to try it?" Luna hesitated for a moment and shook her head. "No, you should do it." "Sure. Well, you're a better shot than me." "All right." Pressing the button to lower the window, Remy drew his gun. "Ronald, you'd better drive steadily. If you make me crash into a tree, I'll shoot you," said Remy. "Just leave it to me. If I hit a tree in such an open area, I will never drive again," said Ronald. After getting Ronald's assurance, Remy took a deep breath, stood up with the gun in hand and leaned his upper body out of the window. Seeing this, Luna hesitated for a moment, then leaned towards Remy's seat, then reached out and hugged Remy's waist. The little face is red. Chapter 189. It was not easy to aim in a bumpy car, and Barrett only had 60 rounds of special bullets, so Remy did not rush to shoot. Instead, he asked Ronald to chase the car more closely and get closer to the target. He aimed again and again until the two cars were less than 50 meters apart, until someone on the other side imitated Remy and stuck his gun out of the window. Remy fixed his eyes and pulled the trigger hard. Boom! Bang! With one shot, the vehicle in front exploded into the sky with a bang. 3 boxes were thrown out of the car and landed vertically first, while the car body flew away in a parabola. "That's amazing!" Ronald praised, and at the same time he slammed the brakes to stop the car, shaking Hermione, who was sitting in the passenger seat, so much that she almost flew out. They got off the car together and looted all the spoils. Not only did all 5 of them have level 2 suits, they even had an extra level 3 suit. This group of people are also very fat. Why do I feel like every team, no matter how many people are left, has better equipment than us? Harry complained. Because we consumed too much energy when fighting the Lord of the Dark Tide before. Hermione said. Indeed, I had run out of bullets at that time. Remy, I want to only put bullets in the backpack, do you think it's okay? Ronald asked. Remy subconsciously wanted to refuse, but then he changed his mind and thought that with their sunset red shooting skills, if they fought each other, they could last for a long time even with only a little blood left, so it didn't seem to make much difference whether they had medicine or not. Play however you want. When playing games, having fun is the most important thing, said Remy. Having fun is indeed the most important thing when playing games, but I think winning is the happiest thing. Hermione complained, while silently stuffing 2 more grenades into her backpack. After cleaning up the battlefield, several people got in the car again and headed for the high ground marked before, but they started to shrink the circle again as soon as they arrived. They had wasted too much time chasing that group of people and had also run a little too far. But after discussing it, the few of them did not leave in a hurry, but decided to wait for the new safe zone to be refreshed before evacuating. Looking at the prompt in the upper right corner of the glasses that there were only 26 survivors left, everyone felt more relaxed. There are only 26 people left. If you remove these 5 people, there are only 21 people left. At most, there are 4 teams plus a Mavericks. The number of competitors is very small. I think we can drive around in circles and honk the horn later, and we will kill anyone who dares to attack us. Ronald said arrogantly with an inflated mentality. Okay, then we'll hide and you drive the car to attract the target. Remy said. Ronald's eyes widened immediately. FK, then I am the bait. You are wearing level 5 armor. If you don't act as bait, who will? Harry patted Ronald's shoulder and said with a smile, come on, we believe you can lure out all the enemies. Wait, the number of people has decreased again, 4 people are missing all of a sudden. Luna said. Several people rushed to check, and Ronald, who had been extremely arrogant, suddenly became serious. Being able to eliminate 4 people at once might mean that there is a team that is still full like ours, Ronald said. That's not certain. Maybe they were all killed by a grenade, said Hermione. It's better to believe it than not to believe it. Be careful, so as not to get wiped out by carelessness in the end. Remy said. Everyone nodded, dispersed a little, and stood guard carefully, looking for the enemy at the same time. Time passed little by little, and they didn't see anyone until the new safe zone was refreshed. But the good news is that the new safe zone still covers them and they don't need to change their position. We're lucky. Remy said, the safe zone is very small now. Someone will definitely run towards us. Be careful. Don't worry, no one can escape my eyes. Bang. I'm boiling. The sudden gunshot startled all 5 people. The other 3, except Remy and Luna, moved around like headless flies, not knowing whether they were looking for the enemy or dodging. Over there, the gunshots came from over there, but I didn't see anyone there. Luna said, pointing to the left front of Remy. Remy nodded, he also heard it, but he didn't see the enemy's position either. Judging from the gunshots just now, he's not far away. Remy said, be careful, he might be lying in the bushes. Which direction? He dared to attack me, I'll beat him out. Ronald said. In the direction of 254, the exact location is still unclear. Remy said. 254, 254, found it, leave it to me, said Ronald. Found it? Ronald's eyesight is so good? Remy was stunned for a moment. Just as he was stunned, he saw Ronald holding a submachine gun and firing at an area in front of him, while advancing forward. Remy was speechless immediately. It seems that you found the direction but not the person? Although I am speechless about Ronald, I have to say that his behavior is very useful. As he continued to fire and advance, Hermione, who was hiding in another direction, quickly discovered the enemy's position. I see it! Hermione shouted. Behind the tree to the left of that rock. In that bush. Remy looked quickly and found a bush under a tree that now looked extremely eye-catching. How dare he destroy the greenery I worked so hard to plant? Remy gritted his teeth and was very angry. He never planted a bush under a tree. The man must have pulled the bush from somewhere and brought it here. They maliciously exploited the bug, they must be punished. Change to the Barrett sniper rifle, aim at the tree trunk, and shoot. Bang! With a loud bang, the tree trunk and bushes disappeared, revealing an urn behind it. Oh my god, Remy, your shot is so powerful, said Ronald. But why didn't the top half of the tree fall down? What kind of magic did you use? Hermione asked. I didn't damage the upper part of the tree trunk, why did it fall down? Remy asked in return and calmly replaced the bullets. Ronald ran to search the box for more bullets, while the rest of them continued to be on guard. Remy took out his tablet and opened the map. Looking at the already small safe zone on the map, he suddenly felt uneasy. His intuition told him that although there were not many people left, it was very likely that each of them had special skills. It looks like we'll have to do a major update after this game. There are just too many loopholes to exploit. Sigh. Sighing, Remy regained his spirits and looked around. Suddenly, Remy's eyes fixed and he quickly raised his gun. There's someone in the cabin at the foot of the mountain in direction 199. After reporting the location, Remy aimed at the cabin at the foot of the mountain and pulled the trigger. Bang! With one shot, the cabin and the people inside disappeared. Chapter 190. Behind a rock not far from the cabin, a runner who was afraid to continue running forward because he noticed there was someone in the cabin was so frightened that he dared not move anymore when he saw the cabin disappearing suddenly. Cheat? There must be a cheat. I will definitely report this to Remy after this game is over. I lay on the ground and slowly backed away. I had not gone far when suddenly there was a loud bang. My vision went dark and then bright. When I looked around again, I was already in a lounge. At this moment, there were several people in the lounge cursing loudly, all of them were cursing someone for using cheats, and he soon joined the team cursing the cheats. After a while, 2 more people appeared in the lounge, one after the other, and they started cursing without even taking a good look at the situation around them. You 2 were also eliminated by cheaters. Yes, we were running towards the safe zone, but we were eliminated by a single shot. We didn't even have a chance to fall to the ground. We were eliminated directly. Oh my god, I didn't expect there was such a thing. It's really abominable. We must find Remy and report them. By the way, have you seen Remy? Remy should still be in the game. I asked other people and they all said they didn't see him. Hey, what do you think would happen if Remy met someone who cheated? I don't know, but it will be exciting. What do you think? If Remy was eliminated by someone cheating, would he be so angry that he would rush in and beat up that person? Is there anything he dare not do? He built such a large venue. I would believe you even if you said he tore the whole venue down in a rage. I'm suddenly looking forward to it. People outside don't know that the cheating player they are discussing is none other than Remy himself, and he is not cheating. On the island, Remy eliminated 5 people in one go until there were no more enemies left. The rest of the people are definitely not in this direction, or they are hiding somewhere. After a discussion, several people felt that waiting for the circle to shrink was the most reliable approach. It would be great if the safe zone is still here next time. Remy, are you sure the safe zone refresh is random? Is there really no pattern? Ronald asked. There's no pattern, it's all random, Remy said. That's a shame. Ronald shook his head. Why didn't anyone come to attack us? Your gun was so loud, someone should have noticed us, right? Just as he finished speaking, Remy suddenly heard a slight clicking sound. Remy's pupils shrank suddenly, it was the sound of the grenade safety opening. Get down! With a loud shout, Remy rushed to Luna beside him, hugged her and threw her 3 meters away and continued to roll down. Just as it stopped rolling, there was a loud bang from above, followed by Harry and Hermione's cries of "Oh my God" and help through the headphones. I'm so angry. I was blown down, save me. I fell too. Someone blew up a grenade on us. It was thrown very accurately. It's not that they threw it accurately, someone threw it right next to us. Remy said, Ronald, you save them. Luna, do you have a smoke bomb? Come with me and throw the smoke bomb at their feet. Luna, who was still confused at first, quickly calmed down, took out the smoke bomb from her backpack, and followed Remy to throw the smoke bomb at Harry and the others. 2 smoke bombs were thrown in succession, and before the smoke spread, Remy suddenly caught a glimpse of something unusual out of the corner of his eye. A grenade was floating towards Harry and the others along the ground. FK. Levitation spell. Remy yelled angrily, someone used the levitation spell to remotely control the grenade here. Oh my God! What should we do? We don't have any wands. Ronald said in panic. That's not right. Wasn't it agreed that wands are not allowed in this game? Harry said. No one checked, he must have cheated and brought it in, said Hermione. Not necessarily. Maybe he is a senior student who has mastered wandless spell casting. Remy said, but it doesn't matter. Since he is cheating with magic, I won't indulge him. With a cold snort, Remy stretched out his hand and pointed. A huge translucent protective shield protected Harry and the other 2 and expanded rapidly, directly squeezing out the grenade that was sneaking in. Ronald, I've activated the shield, just go ahead and pull the person out without any worries, Remy said. Okay. After protecting the 3 people, Remy took Luna back and waved his hand to disperse the smoke that had just spread. With his vision clear, Remy looked around for the enemy. But this time he no longer simply used his eyes to see, but also sensed the magic around him at the same time. In Remy's perception, Harry's magic was undoubtedly the most noticeable, but he was right next to Remy, so that could be ruled out. Expand the scope little by little until I found you. With a grin, Remy pointed his gun at a tree and started shooting. Bang! After one shot, the protective shield was shaken violently. Oh! I'm so angry that I'm dizzy. Slapping his head in annoyance, Remy took out 2 grenades from his backpack and used a levitation spell to send them out of the protective shield. It is rude not to reciprocate. To prevent you from accusing me of rudeness, please accept these 2 grenades. While muttering to himself, Remy controlled the grenade to the target location. The man seemed to have discovered the grenade. He stood up from behind the tree, turned around and started to run. However, there is a prize if you pull the tab and open the lid. Following 2 consecutive explosions, the number of survivors indicated in the upper right corner of the glasses decreased by 1, and the cheating player was eliminated directly. Tisk, it seems like this senior has really mastered wandless casting. It's a pity that he hasn't mastered the wandless protective spell. Remy said. It's outrageous enough. Harry, who had just been helped up, said as he put bandages on himself. I don't dare to think about what kind of people I'll meet next. Maybe they'll all be seniors who have mastered wandless spell casting. Harry said. It's not a big problem. They can't kill us instantly with magic alone, and if they use magic to assist in sneak attacks with guns or grenades, they won't be able to kill Ronald in his level 5 protective suit instantly. Remy said. That's not necessarily true. What if there were 2 grenades at the same time? 3. Hermione said, no matter how powerful the level 5 armor is, can it block 5 grenades? No. Remy frowned. The situation Hermione described was indeed possible. If that happened, even if he was attacked by surprise, he would not be able to activate the shield in time to protect everyone. After much thought, Remy decided, he would cheat too. Don't worry, I will be more focused next. I will be able to sense anyone who appears within 100 meters of us. Remy said, but for your gaming experience, I won't tell you the other party's location before they cast magic. After saying that, Remy handed the Barrett sniper rifle to Luna, and then divided the supplies in the backpack among Harry and the others. But this is not because Remy doesn't play anymore, but because Remy believes in himself. With his marksmanship and the area perspective plug-in, he doesn't need too much equipment at all. A gun is enough. Chapter 191. Originally, in order to take care of other people's gaming experience, Remy wanted to keep a low profile and only take action at critical moments. But when he was driving the car with others to move and suddenly felt that there was someone underground in the open space ahead, Remy finally couldn't bear it anymore. Meow. I worked so hard to build such a big island for you to play games, and you insist on inventing your own way to play, right? You like bugs, right? I'll let you bug. Resisting the urge to use the repair spell to bury the two people below alive, Remy bit off the pull ring with his mouth, and then used the levitation spell to control the two grenades to fly into the hole under the bushes in front of him. With a loud bang, the number of survivors on the island decreased by 2 again. Remy cast a repair spell to repair the ground, and pointed at Ronald in the driver's seat with a murderous look on his face, signaling him to get out of the car. Ronald, frightened by Remy's appearance, swallowed his saliva, got out of the car quickly, and got on the back seat without saying a word. After getting in the car, Remy stepped on the accelerator and headed straight for the next group of people. At this moment, he had already maximized his perception range, and there was no place in the entire safe zone that he could not perceive. Speeding all the way, when seeing that he was about to hit a small wooden house in front of him, Remy did not slow down. He just freed his hands to cast a protective spell on the car before crashing into it. Bang! Boom! I'm boiling. Harry, who was sitting in the passenger seat, accidentally hit his head and quickly reached for the seat belt. Remy, be normal, we are scared of you like this, said Harry. What the hell are you afraid of? I'm already very polite by not flying up and crushing them. Remy said, while drifting and turning the front of the car towards the people running out of the wooden house and stepping on the accelerator to the bottom again. You're almost taking off. Hermione complained, and at the same time hurriedly grabbed the back of the seat in front of her to prevent herself from being thrown out. The car roared towards the fleeing people, and with Remy's superb skills and the help of the floating spell, he performed a drift and eliminated all 3 of the fleeing people. The people in the car were so dizzy that they dared not say a word, for fear that they would vomit out the overnight meal when they opened their mouths. However, Remy, who had already entered the rage mode, didn't care about that. After eliminating 3 more people, he turned the car around again. This time, he rushed directly towards a group of buildings. Harry closed his eyes with a deathly pale face, and then heard a series of explosions. When he opened his eyes again, he saw that a huge passage had been created by crashing into the row of buildings behind the car. Remy, what's wrong with you? Is this considered cheating? Harry asked weakly. Because the rest of the people are all FG cheating, said Remy. As soon as he finished speaking, a flame suddenly shot out from a nearby building and instantly covered the entire car. The next second, the car roared out of the flames and crashed directly into the building, moving left and right on the first floor, and smashed the load-bearing wall of the first floor into pieces in just a few hits. What a troublesome bunch! Death from weapons, falls, drowning, or collisions can all trigger the combat uniform's protective mechanism and teleport them away, but magic attacks won't trigger it. If I don't eliminate them now, if they run into other people and use magic attacks, it will really be fatal. Remy said, gritting his teeth. Harry and the others felt a tightness in their hearts and suddenly they all stopped talking. However, what they didn't know was that Remy actually had another way to teleport everyone out at once, but he didn't choose that method because he was so angry that he needed to vent. Remy didn't feel bad at all as he demolished countless buildings along the way, because he could just use a repair spell to repair them later. Repair spell? YYDS. After killing the last person in the city, Remy drove away and headed straight for a hill. At this moment, Remy was just like the new drivers who had just learned to drive in 1997, killing more than 100 people going uphill and downhill. Not that many, only 3 were actually run over. The engine roared and the car wreaked havoc on the hills like a prehistoric beast. When there were only 8 people left, Remy stopped the car on a hill, turned off the engine, and breathed a sigh of relief. What happened? Harry asked in horror, are you going to make us get off the car and then run us over? Remy rolled his eyes. You're still the same. You have a very vivid imagination, but it's all wrong. And you? There are 3 people left, from the same team, and none of them use magic to cheat. Oh, I see. Leave them to us. Heaving a sigh of relief, Harry patted his chest and assured him. Although he didn't even know where the enemy was at the moment, it would be good as long as he could calm down Remy, the murderous demon. Then I'll leave it to you. I'm still a little annoyed and need some quiet time. Remy said. Yeah, okay. Just take a good rest, and leave the rest to us. Don't worry, we will definitely help you eliminate them. It took so much effort to create such a game, but there are so many bugs and loopholes, so many that it leaks like a sieve. Let alone Remy, this is unacceptable for any game producer. In particular, the cheating methods they revealed were varied and could not be solved by simply banning the use of magic. Magic cheating must be dealt with by banning magic. How to deal with tunnel warfare? Harden the ground? What about mine warfare? The 3 people in the wooden house had made mines around the house, otherwise Remy would not have hit them. Some people have also made mechanisms in the building complex that trigger grenades when the door is opened. How can we ban these ways of playing? After thinking about it for a long time, Remy was so confused that he sighed helplessly. Turning off the noisy team voice chat, Remy lowered the back of his chair and prepared to lie down for a while. As soon as Remy lowered the backrest and lay down, he was stunned. Luna was still in the car, she didn't get out. Aren't you going to continue playing games? Remy asked. You are more important. Luna blushed and pursed her lips, and 3 against 3 is fair. Although this game is a fair competition game, the specific gameplay does not encourage fair one-on-one duels, said Remy. They should be fine. Luna reached out and gently pressed on Remy's shoulder. Remy took off his bulletproof vest and enjoyed Luna's shoulder massage. At this moment, Luna, wearing a bulletproof helmet and a military uniform, has a unique charm, especially when she is massaging Remy's shoulders in this outfit, which makes Remy feel a little strange. Seeing the strange look in Remy's eyes when he looked at her, Luna seemed to have misunderstood something. She pursed her lips and reached out to take off her bulletproof helmet. As Luna took off her helmet, her long golden hair, as warm as the sun, sprinkled on her military uniform. The strong contrast made her charm undergo a qualitative change again. Chapter 192. The sounds of gunfire and grenade explosions continued to be heard, the warm wind brought a slightly pungent smell of gunpowder, and occasionally there were bursts of smoke. In this exciting battlefield, Remy lies on the recliner and enjoys the massage comfortably, which is quite interesting. Unfortunately, this enjoyment did not last long as it was interrupted by a young man who barged in. Their eyes met, and they were both stunned at the same time. The other person looked at Remy, then at Luna, and finally set his sights on the M4 that Remy had placed aside. Noticing his gaze, Remy quickly grabbed the gun, but what Remy didn't expect was that the other party's reaction was also very fast. Seeing that he failed to take the gun, he immediately pounced on Remy and punched Remy. After receiving a heavy blow, Remy was stunned for a moment, and then became furious. Zhao! Don't put pressure on me as a man! Remy yelled while struggling. Zhao! What do you think I want? If you have the guts, drop your gun and let's get out of the car and fight one-on-one, the other party roared. Let's fight alone. I'm going to beat you up. Get off me. I'll go down if you drop the gun. Okay. Luna, here's your gun. I want to fight him in a duel. Seeing that Luna really took the gun, the other party was shocked and quickly pulled Remy up and hugged him tightly, using Remy as a shield. He was very strong, and Remy's posture was wrong at the moment, so he couldn't use any strength at all and couldn't break free for a while. I've put down my gun, get the hell out of here. Let's fight one-on-one. Remy said, gritting his teeth. After a quick glance to make sure Luna didn't shoot or even raise her gun, the other party let go of her hand with relief, but then grabbed Remy's wrist tightly again, as if to prevent Remy from picking up the gun again. Get out of the car, close the door, and let's fight one-on-one, the other party said. Do you think I'm afraid of you? After getting out of the car, Remy shook off the other person's hand and kicked him out. After fixing his hair a little, Remy took a look at the situation not far away and was speechless. In the distance, they saw 2 strangers fighting with Harry and Ronald. They should be senior students and were much bigger than Harry and Ronald. Harry and Ronald had no choice but to be beaten. Fortunately, the two seemed to still have some gentlemanly manners and did not attack Hermione. Under Hermione's harassment, Harry and Ronald were able to fight back occasionally. But none of them fired a shot, or even held a gun. Who the hell are you? Why are you fighting with these seniors? Are you crazy? Remy asked after opening the team voice chat. What do you think we are thinking? We have no bullets left. How can we? Bah! You actually hit me in the nose. Hermione, help me, kick him to death. Hit him. Hit him. Remy. I really admire you guys. How could a good shooting game develop into such a primitive fight in the final round? Can't you just play the game as I designed? You are wasting my hard work like this, bang. Remy, who was shouting hysterically in his heart, was hit in the chest. This brought Remy back to reality and made him even more furious. This is intolerable. What can be tolerated? Even the familiar can be tolerated, but the new cannot. Remy dodged the opponent's fist, tripped him with his foot, and then twisted his arm and pressed him to the ground. Luna! Shoot him! Remy shouted. Oh chow! Are you a man? Didn't we agree to a one-on-one duel? He shouted in panic. She is my girlfriend, and we have couple skills. What do you, a single guy, have to say about it? Remy said. After hearing Remy's words, the other party suddenly gave up struggling for some reason. The next second, with the bang of a gunshot, he was shot dead by Luna. The gunshot startled two enemies not far away, but they did not run away. Instead, they increased the frequency of their attacks and became more ruthless. Oh my god! Remy! Help me! I'm knocked out! I'm going to be eliminated! Harry shouted. Remy! Shoot him now! I can't hold him anymore! Hermione yelled. After taking a look at Harry who was crawling on the ground and Hermione who was desperately pulling back by the shoulder strap of his bulletproof vest, Remy took the gun that Luna handed over from the window and started firing. The opponent's bulletproof vest had already been worn out by Harry's attack, and it shattered instantly under Remy's shooting. Hermione lost her grip and fell backwards. Fortunately, the target she was holding was knocked down by Remy right after. Just as Remy was about to shift his focus and eliminate the last person, Ronald's voice suddenly rang out. Remy! Don't shoot! I must defeat him today! Hermione, go save Harry first! Ronald shouted. Are you sure? Even though you have better protective gear, how can you beat him when you are being beaten like this? Remy asked, let me beat him and get it over with quickly. I'm so tired. There will be a way. Give me 5 minutes. If I can't beat him in 5 minutes, you can defeat him again. Ronald said stubbornly. Okay, then you can let him hold you down and enjoy it slowly. After confirming that Ronald was really out of control, Remy put down the gun tiredly, sighed and returned to the car. Enjoy it for nothing. Remy! Didn't you say that our physiques have been strengthened to the same level? Why do I feel that he is stronger than me? Ronald asked. The combat suit only raises everyone's limit to the same level in theory. The specific situation will vary from person to person. And you also have to know how to exert your strength. He obviously knows how to fight better than you. Like me, I just pinned his companion down one-on-one. Remy explained. Can you teach me 2 quick tricks? Ronald asked. Yes, pulling hair, poking eyes, kicking crotch, poking throat, pinching balls, stepping on toes, bending pinky toes. Aren't these moves of yours too dirty? Are there any that are less dirty? It's not that dirty, but you can't do it quickly. You can do it yourself. Ignoring Ronald, Remy lay back in the chair. Luna reached out and continued to rub Remy's shoulders to help Remy relax. After a while, there was a sudden scream like a pig being slaughtered outside, and Hermione's disgusted and contemptuous voice. It was as if Pandora's box was opened. Ever since that scream appeared, screams continued to ring out from time to time, and it came from not one person but 2 people. Although I didn't see it with my own eyes, but by listening to the screams one after another, I could guess that the owners of the 2 voices must be torturing each other. After a while, after being reminded by Luna that 5 minutes had passed, Remy picked up the gun again and got out of the car with Luna. They had to put an end to this farce to prevent the 2 guys from torturing each other until they grew old and wasting everyone's time. Originally, Remy wanted Luna to deliver the final blow, but before he could get close, looking at the unbearable scene in front of him, Remy decisively hugged Luna in his arms to prevent her from seeing it, and quickly raised his gun to empty the magazine. As the last person was eliminated, the sky was filled with colorful rays of light, and a golden treasure chest inlaid with colorful gems fell from the sky to the center of the venue. The treasure chest opened automatically, and countless fireworks rose into the sky, forming a line of words in the air: "Good luck, chicken tonight." Chapter 193. Fireworks exploded in the sky, dispelling the dark tide all around. Under the sky full of fireworks, Ronald sat on the ground, his face full of unhappiness. Remy was also unhappy, but relieved. "It's finally over, Harry, there are rewards in the box, you can take them," Remy said. "Ah? There's a reward? What's the reward?" Harry walked to the box with some surprise, and took out a golden AK-47 from the box, then took out another one, and another one, and another one, a total of 5. "Wow, pure gold? Everyone has it?" Harry asked in amazement. "Of course it's not pure gold, but it's more eye-catching than real gold, isn't it?" said Remy. "Indeed, it's really bright." Everyone received the first place souvenir, and Ronald, who was feeling depressed, felt much better. After a brief celebration, several people left the island together through the teleportation device in the box. When the 5 people appeared in the lounge holding golden axe, a large group of green eyes immediately stared at the 5 people. Then the lounge became a mess. Everyone talked about their own things, and almost all of them accused Remy of cheating. Faced with so many complaints, Remy was not surprised but happy about their enthusiasm for the game. It took a lot of effort to get everyone to calm down. Remy promised them that the game would be upgraded and all cheating would be severely cracked down. After finally getting away, Remy, Luna, Harry and the other 2 went to the kitchen to have a celebratory dinner. After dinner, Remy sent Luna back to the dormitory and then returned to the island without stopping to upgrade and renovate it. The first step is to repair the damaged areas on the island. An average person might have to spend several months repairing it and still not eliminate any omissions. Even a wizard would have to run back and forth for several days to repair it. But for Remy, only one repair spell is needed to repair the entire island. For Remy, large-scale repairs are even easier than repairing a small part alone, because large-scale repairs do not require him to deliberately control the strength, and he can even use as much strength as he can. This is a rare opportunity, as Remy usually doesn't have the chance to perform magic as he pleases. First, he used all his strength to cast 5 repair spells to repair every aspect of the island, leaving no corner untouched, even repeating the repair several times. Then, Remy happily used the protective spell to cover the entire island, making every blade of grass and every tree on the island stronger than steel. But there was a small problem: the grass was too hard and it pricked your feet when you stepped on it. This put Remy in a dilemma. If you don't cast protective magic on the grass, someone will definitely pull it out. If you cast protective magic on the grass, it will be impossible to pass through the grass. After several unsuccessful attempts to cast protective magic while maintaining the flexibility of the plants, Remy had to seek help from Headmaster Dumbledore and Professor Grindelwald, hoping to learn more suitable protective magic from them. When the 2 followed Remy to the island and saw Remy's masterpiece, they both fell silent. "Remy, I think you still need to learn how to control your power," Headmaster Dumbledore said in a complicated tone. "If Gellert and I had performed the magic, this situation would not have happened. You are too powerful." "Yes, Remy, your protective spell has become a binding spell." Grindelwald kicked the grass next to him, but the grass, which should have been soft, did not move at all after being kicked. It can be imagined that if it was a person instead of a grass that was being protected, the person being protected would certainly be like the grass, imprisoned by the protective cover and unable to move. "But if I don't use my full strength, there's no way I can cover the entire island, and the effect won't last long before it disappears," Remy said. "Protection spells are not magic that can be effective all the time." Headmaster Dumbledore said helplessly, "Your power is too strong and has caused a qualitative change in the protection spell you cast. My suggestion is that you experiment a few more times and control your power so that it does not change qualitatively." "Right." Grindelwald nodded and agreed. "With your power, if you only increase the amount of magic power, it should be possible to make the protective spell cover the entire island and last for quite a long time. As long as there is no qualitative change, it will not make them hard." "Okay, let me try again. You guys go back and rest first." I can't control it finally to exclude you two when I cast a large-scale protective spell. Remy said. The two nodded and disappeared in a flash. However, the two did not return to Hogwarts Castle, but appeared on the landing platform above the outer edge of the island. They stood on the edge of the landing platform and looked at the island silently. After a while, a huge protective shield rose from the island and covered the entire island in the blink of an eye. What a shocking power! Even Merlin might not be able to do it. Grindelwald exclaimed. Yes, in comparison, the magical abilities of you and Voldemort, who are called the Dark Lord, seem to be nothing. Dumbledore said meaningfully. Grindelwald curled his lips in disdain. Voldemort and I are different. Remy is even more different from us. Yet. By the way, do you think we can break this protective spell together? Dumbledore asked as he looked at the protective shield that rose again. So what if it breaks? He can perform it dozens or even hundreds of times. How many times can two old bones like you and me break it? Grindelwald glanced at Dumbledore calmly. Instead of worrying about him, you should worry about yourself, Albus, said Grindelwald. Dumbledore was confused. Worried about myself? Worried about what? He hasn't done anything evil, nor does he have any evil thoughts, but you are always worried about him. Don't you think there is something wrong with your concept? Grindelwald asked. Even if he has great power, so what? Compared to other wizards, don't you have great power as well? Dumbledore was stunned. At this moment, Grindelwald suddenly showed a meaningful smile. Albus, you might as well ask yourself, are you worried that Remy will do evil one day, or are you more worried that you don't have the ability to stop him, or are you worried about being surpassed? Silence. Dumbledore fell silent, and also fell into deep thought. Grindelwald's question really hit upon his blind spot. He had never really thought about this question carefully, but he should definitely think it through. Thank you, Gellert. I will think about this problem carefully in the next few days. Dumbledore said after a long sigh. Actually, I really hope that you are afraid of being surpassed. We are already at this age. If we don't fight for success, we will have no chance. But it's really disheartening to compete with such a little monster. Grindelwald said as he looked at the huge protective shield that rose again on the island in the distance. Dumbledore also looked towards the island, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. He also felt powerless against Remy's power. Chapter 194. After a week of adjustments, the gaming venue finally met Remy's expectations. But this is not the end yet, there is still anti-magic equipment that Remy needs to make. We were busy all the way until the end of the school year, and the brand new PUBG Mobile finally passed the review and obtained the version number for release. Fortunately, the students' enthusiasm for the game remained unabated, and because the team competition map was not closed during this period, the shooting skills of all contestants improved significantly. Due to time constraints, Remy had to abandon the complicated competition process planned at the beginning and streamline it again and again. After streamlining, the 10 players who survive to the end of each round can advance. If a whole team is eliminated at the same time in certain games and the number of remaining people is instantly less than 10, then additional games will be played until 100 people are gathered. In this way, only a dozen rounds of screening are needed to select 100 people for the finals. As for whether they would be separated from their teammates because of this selection system, Remy didn't care about that. He just wanted to complete the first game before the end of the school year. Besides, maybe those who can advance are eager to get rid of the bad teammates who hold them back, and the selection system provided by Remy can give them this opportunity. Remy did not participate in this competition. He wanted to act as the god in the game, monitoring every game to prevent anyone from cheating in ways he could not expect. Just like the classic joke, a test engineer walked into a bar and ordered a beer. A test engineer walked into the bar and ordered a glass of white wine. A test engineer walked into the bar and asked for a glass of footbath water. A test engineer walks into a bar and orders 0.7 beers. A test engineer walked into the bar and ordered a glass of JFNDBFHFJJFR equals plus UN. A test engineer walked into a bar and left without asking for anything. A test engineer walked into the bar, overturned a table, climbed out the back door, and then swaggered back in through the front door. After going through various operations, the test engineer left the bar with satisfaction and the bar officially opened. On the first day of opening, a customer walked into the bar, ordered a fried rice dish, and the bar exploded. The funny part of this joke is, you never know what weird ways of playing the game the players will develop, or what outrageous bugs they will encounter. Remy is going to continue this competition, so he is particularly concerned about it and strives to fix as many loopholes as possible in the early stages. Sitting in the monitoring room, looking at the pictures on the screens in front of him, Remy's eyes were almost dazzled. Remy also upgraded the protective glasses, not only integrating more character information and maps into the glasses display, but also adding a camera function to the glasses, allowing Remy to monitor the dynamics of all players in real time. It is clear at a glance whether cheating has occurred. There are just too many pictures and it makes people feel dizzy. Fortunately, Remy doesn't need to watch all the time. A real cheater won't just cheat once. He only needs to patrol once in a while to see if there are any obvious problems, and then focus on the situation in the final round. If you try to cheat but still fail to make it to the finals, there is no need to waste your energy. First fix the serious bugs that seriously affect the balance. As for those minor bugs that are harmless, it's okay to temporarily use them as Easter eggs to add some fun to the game. Actually, I don't think you need to make the rules so strict. If they want to use magic, just let them use it. Don't you think it would be more interesting that way? Luna said as she walked into the monitoring room. She was carrying a tray with a teapot, teacups, and 2 plates of dessert. Of course it's possible from a gameplay perspective, but the original intention of holding this competition was to promote magic firearms. Remy said helplessly. Of course he knew what Luna said, and he had considered it before, but it was really inconsistent with his original intention. If everyone is obsessed with magic battles, then no one will pay attention to his magic guns? Wouldn't that be like shooting himself in the foot? Speaking of magic guns, actually. Luna hesitated for a moment, pulled a chair over and sat next to Remy, looking at Remy with her hands on her cheeks. Don't you think the design of your magic gun is a little strange? Luna asked. Strange? What's strange about it? Remy asked. Wizards all have magic power, and it is because of magic power that they are wizards. But your magic guns can be used by anyone, even Muggles. Don't you think this is strange? Luna tilted her head slightly and asked, I have tried magic gloves in your laboratory. Why don't you design magic guns like magic gloves? I think it should be simpler that way, right? Remy was stunned for a moment. What you said seems to make sense, but wouldn't the functions of magic guns overlap with those of magic wands? Remy asked. There is no overlap. Luna sat up straight, took the wand that served as a hairpin from her hair and waved it in front of Remy. You see, having a magic wand doesn't allow you to cast magic. You need to learn magic specifically to cast the magic you have learned. But your magic gun can cast magic without learning magic, right? Luna said. It seems to make sense. I think I understand what you mean. Remy touched his chin, but it's not easy to achieve. Oh? Is this difficult to achieve? I feel that it should not be difficult for you to just make the magic gloves look like a gun, right? Luna asked doubtfully. No, the difficulty is not to make the magic gun absorb the magic power of the user like the magic gloves, the difficulty is the bullet. Remy shook his head and said, so many kinds of magic require different bullet modules to realize, and these modules must be able to switch at will according to the user's wishes. This requires the cooperation of multiple functional modules to realize it. I need time to study it slowly. Why switch? Luna asked, if you can make magic as fast as current firearms, or even fire continuously, it wouldn't be unacceptable even if a gun can only cast one kind of magic, right? What's more, you can make magazines for different magics. If they want to use the same gun to cast different magics, can't they just change the magazine? This shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Remy's eyes widened and became brighter when he heard Luna's suggestion. Chow. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Luna. You are such a genius. He hugged Luna in his arms and gave her a big kiss. Luna was stunned, and then her face turned red. Holding Luna in his arms, he stood up and the two of them disappeared from the monitoring room. When they reappeared, they had already arrived at Remy's new laboratory located underground. At this moment, Remy had no intention of watching the surveillance video. He just wanted to quickly put Luna's suggestion into practice. Chapter 195. Because it was just a modification and not a complete remake, and because he was only making a sample first, Remy was able to produce it very quickly. When the magic gun that combined the magic glove's active magic absorption function with the magic card's ability to absorb magic power and actively release corresponding magic functions came out, Remy couldn't wait to test the gun on a wooden target. This test immediately revealed a problem: the magic power was consumed too quickly when firing continuously. Because the bullets were removed, the newly made gun had no limit on the number of bullets. In addition, the gun fired too quickly and had no recoil. Less than 2 seconds after pulling the trigger, Remy clearly felt that some of his magic power was missing. With Remy's magic power, he could clearly feel that a part of it was missing. If it were an ordinary person, the magic power in his body would be drained away by the magic gun in just 1 second. This is very dangerous and has no practical value. With such a short time and such a fast firing rate, in this situation, if the first shot doesn't hit the person, all the magics that follow will be in vain, and there will be no chance to adjust the muzzle position. After telling Luna about the new problems, the two of them had a heated discussion and jointly explored suggestions for improvement. Remy needs Luna's help and Luna's vision. After Luna made suggestions for improving magic firearms, Remy realized that he had made a mistake. His vision was too narrow, and his view on magic firearms was more inclined towards firearms rather than magic. In other words, Remy actually started from the perspective of a Muggle, and the guns he made were only capable of firing magic. But Luna is different. She doesn't know much about the Muggle world. She looks at magic guns from a wizard's perspective and values magic more than guns. Remy needed Luna's wizard perspective. After discussion, the two finally agreed that the shooting speed must be reduced, and at the same time, certain restrictions must be placed on the number of consecutive shots. Redesigned the magic gun. When the moon rises high, the magic gun 2.0. No, it should be the 3.0 version is released. The new magic guns are a big improvement. The first thing was to modify the magic power absorption module, changing it from actively absorbing the user's magic power to passively receiving the user's magic power. Although this will prevent the squibs from using magic firearms, it can return the initiative of magic power consumption to the user, making it easier for some old-fashioned wizards to accept magic firearms. Then there is the firing rate. Remy has significantly reduced the firing rate, while providing single shot, triple shot, and continuous shooting switches for free selection. The last part is the magazine. Remy added the function of storing magic power to the magazine. The user can store magic power in the magazine before using the firearm. Just like storing bullets, when there is magic power stored in the magazine, firing will prioritize consuming the magic power in the magazine. The sample magic gun in Remy's hand can only fire the fainting magic, and its magazine can store up to 30 rounds of standard fainting magic. As for the so-called standard, it was Luna's standard. Remy asked Luna to cast the magic of fainting, and used the magic detection crystal ball he had made before to measure the magic consumption each time, and finally took an average value. Luna's magic level is pretty good, at least above average among students, so she's suitable to be used as a standard unit. After testing the gun again, Remy nodded with satisfaction as he looked at the row of targets that had all been knocked down. That's right. This way it's powerful but not too over the top. It's also easier for people in the magic world to accept it. Although it's not my ideal magic firearm, but, at least I don't think it's unacceptable. Seeing that the hour hand of the clock on the wall was pointing to 3 o'clock, Remy hesitated for a moment and gave up the idea of setting up the production line now. There is no need to be too anxious. As long as the production line is set up before the end of the holiday and production is running at full capacity, it will be in time for the purchasing season on the eve of the next school year. Haha. Remy put down the gun, stretched beautifully, and walked out of the laboratory. Next to the laboratory is a lounge, where Luna is currently lying on the sofa to rest. Perhaps because she heard the door open, Luna stood up from the sofa as soon as Remy walked in. Is the new gun made? Is it effective? Luna asked dazedly while rubbing her eyes. The effect is great. Remy walked over to Luna and rubbed her head. Thank you for waiting here for me, and for the magic test before. Thank you for your hard work. No, I just took a nap. Luna said, do you want something to eat? I'll get it for you. No, I'm not hungry at all now, but I'm a little sleepy. Come on, I'll take you to rest. Remy said softly. Okay, hey. Luna, who was in a daze, suddenly widened her eyes. She felt herself being picked up. Luna found herself being carried into a room, and her face turned red like a ripe tomato when she realized something. Especially when Remy laid her on the bed and with a flick of his finger transformed her clothes into a nightgown. The nightgown is a soft and silky silk dress, and it has suspenders. This made Luna shy and she quickly curled up into a ball. Don't be afraid. Remy ruffled her hair again and said softly. You are my boyfriend, I'm not afraid. Luna said softly. Remy was stunned for a moment, looking at the shy Luna, he couldn't help but kiss her forehead. I was too impulsive before. Thank you for not being disgusted with me. Let's take our time on the road ahead. There's no rush. Have a good rest. Good night. After that, Remy kissed Luna again. Luna was also stunned. Looking at Remy who had closed his eyes, a different look appeared in her eyes. Good night. Boo. After kissing Remy, Luna took a deep breath and slowly closed her eyes as she exhaled slowly. Nothing happened that night. The next day, when Remy woke up, he saw a pair of bright big eyes looking at him as soon as he opened his eyes. Remy was shocked at first, but then couldn't help but laugh at his own reaction. Have you woken up early? What time is it? Remy asked with a smile. Let me see, it's 9 o'clock. Luna sat up and looked at the clock and said. As she stood up, the silky dress straps slipped off her smooth shoulders, but Luna didn't seem to notice. 9 o'clock, then you have to get up quickly, otherwise you will miss the class this morning. As she spoke, Remy sat up and pulled up the straps of her dress for Luna, which stunned Luna. It wasn't until Remy lightly touched it with his fingers and changed it back to its original appearance that Luna reacted belatedly. When she came back to her senses, she smiled at Remy who had also changed his clothes back to normal, and suddenly moved closer and tapped Remy's face lightly. I'm hungry and I want to eat pudding, said Luna. Okay, after we wash up we'll go have pudding. Chapter 196. Being invincible can sometimes be really lonely. Because the power is too strong, everything becomes too easy to obtain, and people will lose interest in everything. They can only keep looking for new stimulation, and eventually embark on an extraordinary path. Remy doesn't want his life to be like that, he wants to take a path that few people take, the pursuit of the highest level of enjoyment. What distinguishes humans from lower animals is not that we can use tools, nor that we have great power, nor that we have complex social relationships and smart brains, but that humans know how to restrain themselves. Morality is a shackle that humans impose on themselves. It is precisely because of this shackle that human activities are different from those of other animals and are called civilization. Simple indulgences, whether it's overeating, x, or fighting, may provide intense stimulation and satisfaction for a short period of time, but they are low level. Because this kind of enjoyment has no threshold, anyone can enjoy it, whether they are human or not. If you indulge in it, what is the difference between you and a savage beast? Real enjoyment, like morality, requires patience. Concerts and art appreciation require patience and long periods of boring study before learning how to appreciate them. The most beautiful sunrise requires patience in the cold wind all night and even exhaustion after climbing a mountain. The most stunning rainbow will only appear after a storm. I am also pursuing high-level enjoyment, so, Headmaster Dumbledore, you don't have to worry about me. You don't need to worry about any aspect. In the headmaster's office, Remy looked at Headmaster Dumbledore sincerely. He looked directly into Dumbledore's eyes without any wavering or evasion. Looking at Remy like this, Dumbledore was silent for a moment, smiled, and shook his head. To be honest, I wasn't that worried at first, but after listening to what you said just now, I feel that my worries are not unnecessary. Dumbledore said. Remy. What does it mean? Do you think I'm talking nonsense? Especially since all of this is just an attempt to get me to agree, or rather, to not interfere with your relationship with Ms. Luna Lovegood, right? Asked Headmaster Dumbledore. Well. I really think there's nothing wrong with the way Luna and I get along. I promise that it won't affect my studies, and I also promise that it won't affect Luna's studies. Don't worry. Remy said. How can I be assured? Dumbledore pushed his glasses. Even though you talk a lot, you haven't experienced that kind of thing. Can you really guarantee that you won't indulge in it? Especially with your current progress. It should have reached the edge of danger, right? Remy couldn't help feeling a little embarrassed and guilty when he was suddenly asked about this by Headmaster Dumbledore, especially when he was being stared at by him. Well, not really. There's still some distance. Remy said, touching his nose uncomfortably. Do you believe what you said? Dumbledore asked, Don't forget, you are only a third-year student, and Luna is only a second-year student. If you really think you are mature, then do you think your current relationship is right? Don't you think your relationship has gone too far? This seems to be a bit too much. Remy scratched his face, but then changed the subject, but I have already stepped on the brakes. After staying out all night, don't you think you braked a little late? Dumbledore asked. I swear to God, we really haven't gotten to that point. Remy said, raising his hand. You swear? Then do you know what the students in school are talking about you now? The rumors about you have reached my ears. Dumbledore said in a raised voice. This scared Remy so much that he quickly made up an excuse. Jealousy, definitely jealousy, it must be those single guys who are jealous of us. Remy said, Principal Dumbledore, you can't break up a couple of us who are truly in love just because of unfounded rumors. Blanche. Dumbledore's eyes twitched, and he was speechless about Remy's sudden act of acting pitiful and cute. I didn't say I wanted to separate you. I just hope that you two will rest in your own dormitories every night from now on. Is that not too much to ask? Dumbledore asked. Isn't that too much? That's too much. Luna and I have finally developed to this point, and now we are passionate and inseparable. If this happens suddenly, won't all the passion we have accumulated before be wasted? The passionate relationship now will definitely cool down rapidly, right? Remy thought so in his heart, but facing Headmaster Dumbledore, he didn't know how to refute. To be honest, that's definitely not an option. Dumbledore would definitely not agree. But if I want to find another reason, I really can't find any. As a student, it is indeed unreasonable not to go back to the dormitory to rest every day. No matter how much you try to explain yourself, you cannot cover up this fact. Seeing Remy's expression constantly changing, Dumbledore sighed helplessly. Remy, I know you have always been shameless. No, I mean I know you have always been very independent and don't care about other people's eyes, but... Remy. You just said that I have always been shameless, right? I heard it. I will definitely write this down in my little notebook. But don't you think about Luna? If you guys continue like this, Luna will be ostracized by her roommates and even the female students in the entire college. You don't care what others think of you, but do you not care what others think of Luna? Luna is a girl and she is only in the second year. Have you ever thought about what kind of criticism Luna will suffer if you continue like this? Asked Headmaster Dumbledore. How do others view Luna? Remy was stunned for a moment, a dazed look in his eyes. Yes, if they were like this now, Luna would definitely be criticized. Luna had already been ostracized by some female classmates, and now her situation might be even worse. Maybe no female classmates were willing to be friends with her. Thinking of this, Remy lowered his head in shame, his hands clenched unconsciously. I'm sorry, Headmaster Dumbledore, I was inconsiderate. I will explain this to Luna, and from now on we will rest in the dormitory like other students. Remy said in a muffled voice. Dumbledore breathed a sigh of relief and smiled again. I'm glad you understand. Then, you can go back and explain it to Luna. I don't want a rift between you two because of my decision. Okay, I'll be back now. Goodbye, Headmaster Dumbledore. After leaving the principal's office, Remy walked along in a depressed mood, blaming himself constantly. But suddenly, Remy felt something was wrong. He is indeed very independent and doesn't care about other people's opinions, but Luna is even more independent than him. Chapter 197. The game would be meaningless if it wasn't broadcast live. Especially for competitions that take place on a closed island, if the competition process is not broadcast live and only the results are announced at the end, not only will the audience's enthusiasm not be aroused, but they may even doubt the fairness of the competition process. It's a pity that Remy really couldn't spare the time to make a special broadcasting equipment, so he could only slightly modify the monitoring images on the tactical glasses and use them as live broadcast images. Remy was not satisfied with the visual experience. There were many pictures and the range of each picture was very small. The field of view was shaking back and forth. But, it was better to have it than not to have it. In order to cover up the shortcomings of the live broadcast equipment and increase the viewing experience of the game, Remy specially added a 5-minute delay to the broadcast function. In this way, Remy can act as a director in the broadcast room and arrange the images displayed on the main screen reasonably so that there is always exciting content on the main screen, instead of just showing a player hiding in a corner without moving. On the day of the live broadcast, Remy was not alone. Luna, Headmaster Dumbledore, and Professor Grindelwald were also helping in the broadcast studio. Luna really came to help, and Headmaster Dumbledore came here out of curiosity because he heard about the new toys. The same thing happened with Professor Grindelwald. These two actually came here to play. However, 2 more people can also provide 2 more pairs of eyes, which can help Remy share a lot of workload. When the competition officially begins, Professor McGonagall, an experienced and professional MC, is still responsible for guiding the contestants. Under the guidance of Professor McGonagall, everyone put on combat uniforms, tactical glasses, and equipment and boarded the plane. There are cameras inside and outside the plane, so Remy and his colleagues don't need to be too busy at this step. They just need to switch the camera to the outdoor scene from time to time. There are also cameras on the bottom of the plane that can observe the contestants leaving on their broomsticks. After they leave, the only way to broadcast live is through the cameras on the tactical glasses they wear. The plane is about to fly to the takeoff and landing point. Pay attention. If you see any exciting or interesting operations, just say the number so I can switch the screen to that. Remy reminded. Can the screen be switched just by pressing a button? That's amazing. How about I be responsible for switching the screen? Headmaster Dumbledore suggested eagerly. Are you sure? If you cut it wrong, there will be a live broadcast accident. Remy asked worriedly. Don't worry, even though I'm old, I can still see clearly, said Headmaster Dumbledore. Wait a while, until there are fewer contestants. It will be less busy then and you can all try it if you are interested. As he spoke, Remy sat down at the operating table. The layout of the operating console is very simple. There is a large screen in the front showing a total of 25 split screens in a 5x5 format. There is also a smaller screen protruding diagonally in the middle of the table, which can display the broadcast images. There are 50 buttons on the left and right sides of the screen, representing the contestants. There are also several buttons below the screen for controlling the cameras on the plane. Each button has a clear digital number. Just press it once to cut the picture of that number to the small screen in the middle. It is very simple to operate, but there are too many things to keep an eye on at the same time, so it is easy to lose focus. However, this was only because there were too many contestants in the early stages, resulting in too many split screens. They would feel relieved when the number of contestants decreased in the middle and late stages. The fewer people and camera positions there are, the easier it is for the director. We've arrived at the takeoff and landing point. Luna reminded. Okay, keep an eye on the first person to leave the cabin. Remy nodded, switching the screen back and forth between the interior of the cabin and the bottom of the plane, while keeping an eye on the 25 screens in front of him to see who was about to leave the cabin first. Number 56. Hearing Luna's number, Remy subconsciously pressed the button number 56 on the right. The scene switched instantly, and sure enough, a pair of hands were seen holding a broom handle and flying towards the island. After the picture paused for 3 seconds, Remy switched the picture to the bottom of the cabin again. Now we focus on interesting scenes, such as flying stunts or flying accidents, funny or exciting behaviors, said Remy. Okay, are these the images we see when they fly on broomsticks? It looks just like when we fly on broomsticks ourselves. I haven't used a broomstick for a long time, and I really miss it, said Headmaster Dumbledore. Don't be sentimental, just work hard, Professor Grindelwald reminded. I'm watching. Number 84 is doing a big turn, the picture is quite impactful, said Headmaster Dumbledore. Remy nodded, and switched the screen the moment Headmaster Dumbledore announced the number, automatically blocking out Headmaster Dumbledore's trash talk. He doesn't have the energy to chat with others now, as he has too much to focus on. In fact, the switch buttons can also be distributed to Principal Dumbledore and others, allowing them to decide freely when to switch the screen, but that can easily cause collisions. That is, one person just switched the screen, but before the audience could see it clearly, it was cut away again. Now Remy is the only one in control, and he can control the duration of each picture to ensure the audience's viewing experience. Only Remy can do this job because he is the only one who has watched the live broadcast. Number 31 has landed, and his teammates will be here soon. Grindelwald said suddenly. Receive. He quickly switched the screen to number 31, and waited until number 31 rushed into the nearest house and looted everything in the house. Remy then switched the screen to another group of contestants who had already met up. Switching back and forth between several groups of players, From time to time there will be a camera in the air providing a panoramic view of the island. 5 minutes later, the footage was transmitted to the viewing area. The viewing area is not underground but on the Quidditch field. At this moment, the Quidditch field has been transformed into a panoramic model of the island. There are a bunch of labels on the model, with each player's number, name, and the college they belong to. The number is 5 digits, the first 2 digits indicate the team, and the last 3 digits indicate their competition number. For example, 02001 means that this contestant is contestant number 1 in this game and belongs to team number 2. As the screen on the model lit up, the labels on the model began to move, and at the same time professional Quidditch commentator Lee Jordan began to commentate on the game. Dear audience, the first Black Tide rescue competition has begun. The contestants are now boarding the plane to the island in an orderly manner. We can see that the contestants have changed into combat uniforms and put on tactical glasses. We will be able to see the images they see and enjoy an immersive and grand competition. With Lee Jordan's passionate voice, the atmosphere of the audience was instantly aroused and cheers broke out in the audience. However, they didn't know that the game had already started for 5 minutes. Chapter 198. As the first eliminated player appeared, the Quidditch pitch cheered to celebrate this wonderful moment. In the director's room, Remy and others saw that 7 people had already been eliminated. It's very intense. Why did so many people land in P City? The entire island is so big, shouldn't they be dispersed at the beginning? Or is it because P City is relatively centrally located on the island, which reduces movement? Grindelwald asked while watching the screen. The resources in P City are more abundant. In every game, a set of level 3 suits will be randomly refreshed in the houses in the city. They do this to get better resources at the beginning of the game. Remy explained, and cut the screen to number 13. At this moment, contestant number 13 was sneaking around the second floor window of a house, and there was also a person on the second floor opposite him. If nothing unexpected happens, one of them will have an accident. The differences between the equipment in this game aren't that big, right? I don't think it's wise to take such a big risk just for a small improvement. Headmaster Dumbledore said. The ways of playing are different. After all, this is a game. Some people enjoy ranking high, while others don't care about the final ranking and only care about having fun during the game, said Remy. After explaining a few words casually, Remy continued to stare at the dazzling screen in front of him. Now is not the time to relax. Remy was so focused on finding scenes that showed exciting operations or potential for exciting operations in each frame, and then switching them to the main screen at a reasonable time that his CPU was almost smoking. Fortunately, as one player after another was eliminated, Remy's workload continued to decrease. When the schedule was halfway through, he was even able to take time out to have a cup of coffee to refresh himself. The Lord of the Dark Tide has been refreshed. Principal Dumbledore, do you want to experience what it's like to be a director now? Remy asked. Is it possible now? Asked Headmaster Dumbledore. Yes, from now on we just need to keep an eye on the people who are going to fight the Lord of the Black Tide, and the workload will be greatly reduced. Okay, let me try it then. Giving up the position to Headmaster Dumbledore, Remy gave him a few more details, and emphasized in particular not to cut away the scene as soon as it was cut in, but to stay for at least 5 seconds. There's a commentator on the Quidditch pitch, and she should be given time to commentate on every scene, said Remy. Okay, I understand. Can we switch scenes now? Asked Headmaster Dumbledore. Okay, you can switch scenes anytime now. Leaving the operating table completely handed over to Headmaster Dumbledore, Remy came to Luna with 2 cups of coffee and gave her one and Professor Grindelwald one. Professor Grindelwald glanced at the two of them and smiled slightly, then took a half step towards Dumbledore, leaving enough space for Remy and Luna. Have some coffee and take a break, I'll keep an eye on it, Remy said. Yeah, okay. Looking at Luna who readily agreed to take a break, Remy smiled slightly. He just liked Luna's naturalness. 1 is 1, 2 is 2. I won't evade the question or make excuses just to save face. At this time, there were less than 60 people left in the competition field. After dividing it equally among 4 people, each person needed to focus on no more than 15 pictures at the same time. Therefore, even if one person was watching 2 at the same time, Remy would be able to keep up. Remy took in the scene with his peripheral vision and suddenly laughed out loud. Number 43, said Remy. Headmaster Dumbledore immediately switched the screen upon hearing the voice, and he was immediately amused when he saw the screen. It turned out that there was a team of 3 people squeezed on a motorcycle and flying in the sky. The whole picture kept spinning and getting closer and closer to a warehouse. With a loud bang, the motorcycle exploded and thick smoke instantly filled the entire warehouse. At the same time, No 43's screen indicated that he had been eliminated and displayed the settlement interface: 0 elimination, 0 rescue value, damage, and 0 treatment. All data is 0. I think this picture should be given a name, called, The Unspeakable Secret of a Passionate Relationship That Happened After I Accidentally Entered a Warehouse While Hanging Out with My Teammates on an Island, Remy joked. Dumbledore. Grindelwald. Warehouse, teammates, burning fire, unspeakable. We have every reason to suspect you are making an illusion, but we have no proof. Ahem. Number 12. Grindelwald coughed lightly and reported a number, causing Dumbledore to quickly cut the screen. A few more numbers were reported, and by the time Luna finished her coffee, there were 6 fewer people on the field, leaving exactly 50. Only half of the people are left alive. According to Remy's experience, the elimination rate will be faster than before, until the number of people is less than 30, then it will enter the semi-truce period, and when there are only 20 people left, the elimination rate will accelerate again. None of the contestants on my side have any outstanding performances. By the way, Remy, Harry is also participating in the finals, right? What's his number? Is he still on the field? Principal Dumbledore suddenly asked. Harry is number 7. His picture is over there. You can look for it. Remy said. Really? Dumbledore glanced at the number 7 button on the console that was still lit and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He pressed it to switch the screen to Harry's main perspective. So 6, 8, 9, and 10 are all Harry's teammates? They're Ronald, Hermione, and the others, right? Headmaster Dumbledore asked while looking at Harry's perspective. At this moment, Harry's perspective was in the car. They were on the road, but he couldn't see the driver clearly because Harry was sitting in the passenger seat and staring straight ahead. No. I mean the number is wrong, their numbers are assigned randomly. Remy said. Why not consecutive numbers? Consecutive numbers should be more convenient for your broadcast, right? Asked Professor Grindelwald. Initially, it was to hide the identity of the contestants so that they would not be targeted by other contestants when leaving the cabin. Later, I used other devices to hide the faces of the contestants, but I didn't change their numbers for the sake of convenience. Remy explained, if I want to change their numbers, I have to redo the broadcasting equipment, which is too troublesome and time-consuming. Nodding in understanding, Professor Grindelwald tilted his head and moved closer to Dumbledore to watch Harry's game with him. He was also very interested and curious about this legendary little boy who survived a disaster and who was given special attention by Dumbledore. Albus, have you ever thought about taking Harry as your apprentice? Grindelwald suddenly said, you take him as your apprentice, and then we can see who can teach the apprentice better. Can you compare with me in the ability to teach apprentices? Dumbledore was about to cast a disdainful look at Grindelwald when he suddenly realized that something was wrong. Grindelwald's apprentice seems to be Remy. This is better than. How can this be better than this? Chapter 199. After some explanation, it turns out that the apprentice Grindelwald was referring to was not Remy, but Luna, as he had a crush on Luna. This made Remy and Dumbledore feel a little helpless, and Dumbledore directly rejected Grindelwald's bad idea. Luna was 1 year younger than Harry, and she didn't have the Voldemort cheat, so there was no fairness in the competition between the two of them. Dumbledore even recommended Hermione to Grindelwald, saying that if Grindelwald really wanted to compete, he might as well teach Hermione. But Grindelwald said that if Remy wasn't counted, Hermione's magic level had already surpassed Harry and she was the best in the same grade, so it was not challenging to teach her. This made Remy even more dissatisfied. Teaching Hermione is not challenging, but teaching Luna is challenging? So Remy also rejected Grindelwald's bad idea. The game continued, and the broadcasting continued. When the Lord of the Black Tide appeared, the game finally reached a climax. People from the 4 teams fought together at the bottom of the valley where the Lord of the Black Tide was, contributing a lot of wonderful operations, and the 4 people in the director's room were very busy. These 4 teams include Harry's team. Headmaster Dumbledore made no secret of his preference for Harry and used his position to give a lot of shots to all members of Harry's team. However, Harry's team did not play well and was on the sidelines almost the entire time. Because of this, not a single member of their team was eliminated until the end, but instead 3 of them were killed. There weren't any spectacular moments, but the final result was pretty good. It's a pity that they were too far away and had no chance to fight the Lord of the Black Tide to get the treasure chest. They could only try their best to interfere with the remaining team from getting the treasure chest. The two teams confronted each other for a long time in the valley where the Lord of the Black Tide was located, until the Black Tide hit, and both teams had no choice but to leave with pain. There is no winner in this encounter with the Lord of the Black Tide, both teams are losers. He played too conservatively. This is not Ronald's style, Remy commented. It's the finals after all, maybe it's to be safer. Luna analyzed. It's because it's the finals that we have to grab the treasure chest. It's more profitable to kill the Black Tide Lord first and lure others to get the treasure chest than to keep confronting. I really don't understand what they are thinking. They are not tough when they should be tough, and they are not timid when they should be timid. It's all a confusing operation. After complaining for a while, Remy continued to focus on the screen in front of him. The encounter with the Lord of the Black Tide eliminated a lot of people, and people from other places were also eliminated. Now there are only 24 people left. If we count them according to the full strength, there are less than 5 teams left, but the actual situation is definitely not that few. There are only 2 teams that have survived like Harry and his team, and the others have more or less lost members. The worst off are the lone wolves whose teammates are all killed. They will definitely have a hard time fighting next. However, the fact that they were able to survive even when their teammates were wiped out is enough to show how good they are at surviving. They are all masters of hide-and-seek and Voldemort, and they can lie down in a place for most of the day. The entire game entered a new round of low period. Before the new safe zone was refreshed, almost all teams tacitly chose to hide in a fixed location. Remy and the others were very relaxed at this stage. Remy and the other 3 did not have to report their numbers to Principal Dumbledore, allowing Principal Dumbledore to switch the screen freely. Anyway, it's not exciting no matter which side it is. Even if there is an encounter, they will break up in an instant and run away after just 2 shots. By the way, Headmaster Dumbledore, what do you think this game would be like if magic was allowed during the game? Remy asked. It should be more interesting, right? But the prerequisite is that you have a way to ensure the safety of the players, otherwise it will not be a game but a real battlefield. Headmaster Dumbledore said after thinking for a while. If I can guarantee the safety of the players, are you interested in participating? Remy continued to ask. I think I should participate. In fact, I am very interested in this competition, but Minerva does not agree with me participating, saying that it would be a disgrace to the professors if I was eliminated at the beginning, haha. Dumbledore said with a smile. Me too. Grindelwald nodded and said, it would be so embarrassing if I was eliminated right from the start. Remy nodded. With their words, Remy felt relieved and more motivated to upgrade the game after the Black Tide and add new entertainment methods. If we think more divergently, we can even create a real-life soul challenge game so that all students can practice their combat skills in the game. As for the enemies in the game, of course they are the Death Eaters led by Voldemort. However, these are only a concept at present. Remy's primary goal at the moment is to promote magic firearms and achieve the achievement of selling arms at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, so as to avoid some gods complaining that he is selling dog meat under the guise of sheep meat. I now feel that my horizons are broader than before. If it were in the past, I would definitely participate in the competitions I organized, but now I prefer to watch others play. Remy said. This means that you have completed the gorgeous transformation from the front stage to behind the scenes, and officially become the mastermind who controls everything. Grindelwald said with a smile. There was a half-smile in his eyes, and I couldn't tell whether he was joking or really thinking that. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say anything you want. If Headmaster Dumbledore takes it seriously, he will put me in the dark room. Remy said helplessly. Don't worry, Albus is not such a suspicious person, right? Grindelwald asked. Of course. Headmaster Dumbledore pushed up his glasses and said, stop chatting and focus on the task at hand. The audience is waiting for us to broadcast a wonderful game to them. That's right. The fight has started on the 17th, let's go over there. Glancing silently at Headmaster Dumbledore out of the corner of his eye, Remy also returned to work mode, staring at the screen in front of him with Luna and reporting the number to Headmaster Dumbledore from time to time. As new safe zones were refreshed, all contestants began to move, getting closer and closer to each other, with small-scale encounters occurring from time to time in various parts of the safe zones. Most of the time both sides only lost supplies and no casualties, but occasionally one or two unlucky guys would be eliminated, such as Neville and Harry's team, who was eliminated first because of his size and his imperfect hiding. Not long after, the explosive genius Simo was also killed by the explosion and was taken away on the spot by 2 consecutive grenades. Harry and his 2 companions retreated in time and were able to save their lives. They disappeared from the high slope and were not traced until the circle refreshed again. Their figures appeared on the screen in front of Remy again. They once again met the team that number 34 was in. This time, contestant number 34 had only one teammate left and they were both out of ammunition and food. They were both eliminated after a short resistance. Harry Trio successfully advanced into the top 10. Chapter 200. Is it the luck of the protagonist's halo, or is it strength? Remy thought carefully about his experience with Harry and found that he was not as lucky as the protagonist in a romantic novel. Of course, his luck is also very good, at least better than 99% of people. Because you come from the Muggle world, you are more familiar with guns. Thinking of this possibility, Remy looked at the remaining contestants and found that most of them were indeed wizards from the Muggle world. In this kind of game, they who come from the Muggle world are indeed better than the little wizards who grew up in the magical world. The new safe zone has been refreshed, and the 2 teams should meet soon. Luna said suddenly. Yet. Remy turned his head to look at the screen in front of Luna, only to find that she was looking at the screen in front of him. Switching between the 2 screens, Remy suddenly realized that the 2 teams Luna mentioned were located on their respective screens. Indeed, we're about to meet him. Principal Dumbledore, switch to number 68, his perspective is better. Remy said. Okay. Dumbledore said, that's pretty good indeed. 1, 2, 3, 4 people, including himself, 5 people. It looks like someone else is going to be saved. Not necessarily. They are now too close to the Kuroshio. If they delay for too long or their car gets blown up, they might be eliminated by the Kuroshio that is catching up. Remy said. If that's the case, the audience will probably laugh out loud, right? Ha ha ha. While the 2 were chatting, the 2 teams they encountered on the island had already started fighting. There were 3 people in one team and 2 people in the other team, but the marksmanship of all 5 of them was learned from the master of outlining. For a while, there was no clear winner and no one could do anything to anyone. Remy had the impression that these 2 teams were inexperienced but cautious enough. None of the 5 of them were good at sweeping fire. All of them fired single shots or bursts, and after a long time they didn't use up many bullets. These guys are really frugal. But if they keep going like this, how long will it take to decide the winner? Maybe they will really be eliminated by the black tide. Remy commented helplessly. The black tide has begun to move. Luna reminded. Well, see which shot can see the black tide, and then cut the scene to that, so as to create a sense of tension for the audience. Remy said. Really? Number 42 can see that he is being chased by the black tide. Grindelwald said. Cut. Well, the scene does feel different when it's cut this way. It makes people worry about the safety of the 2 teams just now. Dumbledore said. Next, continue to look for a scene that shows the Kuroshio tide. It would be best if we can find a scene where the Kuroshio tide is overtaken. Remy continued to make arrangements. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it, Grindelwald said. Following Remy's rhythm, the 4 people who had been resting for a while became busy again, 4 pairs of eyes staring at the already pitifully small number of pictures, ready to call out numbers at any time. As time passed, there were fewer and fewer contestants on the island, until only 7 were left. 7 people, 3 teams, 2 3-person teams, and a lone ranger. One of the 3 teams was Harry and his 2 companions. Maybe it was because Remy had always asked them to guard the high slope the last time they played, but the 3 of them were currently guarding a high slope and staring at the surroundings in 3 directions. Another team of 3 was hiding halfway up the same hillside, but because of the angle and the fact that the 3 of them didn't move much, they were right in the blind spot of Harry and the other 2. And the last Lone Ranger has transformed into Voldemort. He was lying on the ground, crawling cautiously up another hillside. Every time he passed a tree, he would raise his head slightly and look around carefully, having a lot of fun playing a battle of wits and courage with the air. But this can't be blamed on him, because the 6 people next to him were also playing with their own shots without firing a single shot. The strange situation made the 4 people in the control room smile. Dumbledore even switched the screen back and forth, trying to let the audience 5 minutes later understand their happiness. He didn't know that there was an island model and a positioning system on the Quidditch field, and the audience would be able to see it more clearly than them. Who do you think will discover whom first? Grindelwald asked. It depends on the situation. Maybe by the time number 11 climbs up to Harry and the others, they may not be able to find the 3 people at the bottom of the hill. Headmaster Dumbledore said with a smile. Just as he finished speaking, suddenly, a grenade appeared in one person's picture. Remy quickly turned around to find a more complete view, and finally saw from Hermione's perspective that Ronald threw a grenade forward with all his strength, in the direction of the other 3 people. Is this cheating? How did you see this? Remy's eyes widened in surprise, and he really couldn't understand how Ronald found out. As the grenade hit the ground and exploded into a cloud of smoke, the 3 people on the opposite side fell to the ground instantly. One was disabled and one was left alone. Only one was saved because he was squatting behind a rock. At the same time, from Hermione's perspective, Ronald was visibly stunned, and then he looked ecstatic. Seeing his reaction, Remy immediately understood something. It's a great win, definitely a great win. 100% true. Remy shook his head helplessly, not knowing where to start complaining for a moment. It seems to be luck. Luna said, although I can't hear their team voice, but Hermione and Harry obviously didn't react, which means they didn't communicate this information in advance. Your analysis should be correct. This guy is really, tisk, so lucky. Remy said. Number 76 used a smoke bomb, and now their position is completely exposed. Luna said. Upon hearing the number, Headmaster Dumbledore, who was already used to it, subconsciously switched the screen to the other side. However, the screen was completely white, and nothing could be seen except a person lying on the ground in front of him. Dumbledore informed Remy of the situation and asked if he should cut to Harry immediately. Don't do that yet. Now let's cut to the Lone Ranger to add some drama. Remy said with a slight smile on his face. Luna, what's that person's number? Number 99, great number, Luna said. Headmaster Dumbledore nodded and cut the screen to contestant number 99. In the picture, contestant number 99 lay down more concealedly when the explosion had already occurred and he happened to see the smoke bomb next door. Ha 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 ha, this kid is indeed dramatic. Grindelwald laughed. Did you expect this, Remy? No, I want to shoot him. Remy said unhappily. Voldemort is the most annoying thing. Of course, this only applies to those who hide and attack me. My attacks on others don't count.
If you're enjoying the story so far and want to hear the next parts, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you'd like me to continue the series, drop a comment below letting me know. Your feedback and support keep these audiobooks going strong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.